Everybody, and good morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Bob Jezel alongside meteorologist Brian Thomas, who's in the house too. We're with you all morning. We're here on the hour until this gets closer. We're all under a tornado watch right now if you're watching us, and we're tracking the squall line. There's some energy ahead of it, but it hasn't been doing much, so that's some good news. It looks like everything we see is along the line. We have one tornado warning. Nothing has been confirmed across central Alabama. It's moving fast, and if you're in the Montgomery area, just if you need any perspective of time, it'll be around 2:35 Central Time. That's 3:35 Eastern, of course. Lynette and Valley, I'm going to use those points coming up before 4 a.m. That would be Central Time, okay? So that's 5 a.m. Eastern Time by the time it comes into East Alabama. So we still got a long morning ahead of us here, and you could see the thunderstorms that are still even lagging behind a little bit. A lot of thunder, and there is our one area that we're looking at here that was some rotation along the physical squall line. So you're going to see these what we call little kinks on here from Sylacauga a little bit farther south as we get past areas that are in Rockford. But the sharp line that you see here is moving towards radar is some fast moving air. This is going to be a widespread wind event, if anything. So if you don't have any severe weather, whether that's some good news, then you don't have to worry about it. But right now, meteorologist Brian Thomas is showing the areas that are under the tornado watch and ways you could get your information. And I'm going to send it over to Brian. Good morning, Brian.
Yeah, a number of ways you can get your information. You can also download the app. Just hit the flow chart there. You see on your screen, scan it with your computer, your phone. It's going to pop up a link. Click on the link. It'll help you download the WRBL weather app. Make sure you turn on the notifications and you get all your watches and warnings there. The watch on the east central side of Alabama is until 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. The watch in Georgia is until 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So different times, obviously, with the progression of the system moving in. Obviously, earlier times for East Central Alabama, later times for West Central Georgia. And, of course, current winds, we're watching those, too. Still 16 miles per hour here in Columbus and Phoenix City. Fort Moore, 12 miles an hour. And, in fact, you could see the toilet paper where they rolled after Auburn's win over Alabama last night, blowing in the breeze there in Auburn. And temperatures quite warm. You can tell we definitely got on the southern side of that warm front. Finally, 68 degrees here in Columbus, 70 in Phoenix City, 66 over in Auburn and Opelika as that line of showers and storms now approaching the Montgomery area. One lone tornado warning up just west of Tallapoosa County, just west of Alexander City. Alexander City not quite in the tornado warning just yet, but definitely off to the west. A little area rotation there, so that's one spot that the National Weather Service is keeping an eye on. And then as we take out our extension times to find out, let's see here, Prattville 2:13, Montgomery 2:31, Tallahassee 3 a.m., 3:21 for Tuskegee. If you live in West Point, about 4:47 Eastern Standard Time. So those are times you need to keep an eye on things as this front, this line of showers and storms, some of those severe, continues to march eastward.
Okay, Brian. So what we are going to be experiencing, a lot of wind, as Brian just showed you. We had a tremendous amount of wind out there. You can see it blowing in the wind. The toilet paper is a rolled Toomer's Corner and a big wind, that's for sure. Okay, so this morning what we're going to be watching, just so you know, there's a lot of showers and thunderstorm activity. You can check out that flow code, as Brian told you. Your mobile device, you can just hold it up there if you don't already have the WRBL radar app. If you have NOAA weather radios, that's your best bet, too, to have your radio ready. If you have it plugged in charge or got a battery in it, keep that nearby. We also are going to be on Q107.3 FM. If for some reason you lose power or if this becomes a little bit more widespread and vigorous, we have a tornado on the ground, we can simulcast on the radio side as well, our PMB broadcast partners. In the meantime, right here on News 3, you're streaming live right now. We got Simone Gibson. She's our digital guru out there. We got meteorologist Nicole Phillips, who's on social media right now. Meteorologist Nicole Phillips is in, and she'll be keeping you updated on Facebook, Twitter, X, I should say, and any other platforms that you guys are on. But we are actually live streaming at Facebook at WRBL News 3. You can check us out on our personal pages, meteorologist Kaylee Barbie, meteorologist Cody Nickel, meteorologist Nicole Phillips, meteorologist Brian Thomas. So we're all out there. There's so many ways to get us. So if you lose, you know, maybe a little bit of a platform here and there, you could capture us in the other places too. So at the top and bottom of the hour, we're going to keep everybody updated. We're watching some of this energy now. You can see some of the rain showers and some of these little, what we say, convected showers are building across East Alabama. We're not looking at these in any way to look like they're discrete, or we're worried about these becoming anything that would be a problem as far as seeing any damaging wind. So we're going to keep an eye on that because this may get a little bit more energized, especially what occurs ahead of the physical squall line. Behind this line is where it all kind of ends. So you don't have to worry what's behind this. Anything ahead of it, this isn't going to be an issue. So that's the good news. So places like Tuscaloosa now that are kind of in their own tears, drowning in sorrow, so we say, Brian, after the loss last night. But Demopolis, these areas, Selma, are actually clear of any severe threat. So it's really everything ahead of it. So it's right along this physical line. And what we can possibly start seeing in this area here starting to fire up. And like we said, Coosa County is the only warning we have right now. And then the latest, we're tracking along the physical squall line. But we are also going to watch if anything erupts, we say discreetly or independent of this physical squall line as it comes in. And we've had, Brian, we've had this morning in Coosa County right now, but there's that's not even confirmed. The good thing is none of these have been confirmed, but places like Talladega County, for example, they have trees blocking roadways. This is not in the news reviewing area, but just to give you a history of this storm, trees not only going down, but we also have lanes blocked on places like Highway 231 at Stevens from Asheville and parts of west central Georgia, East Alabama. Multiple trees down in Hale County, Alabama, right along Alabama State Route 25 around Greensboro blocked. Transmission lines are down. All this all the way through Hayden. So we know from Blount County, Alabama, this is the history of this storm, Brian. So this is definitely, if anything, wind, don't take that lightly is what I'm trying to say. Even if we don't have tornadoes, this is kind of a big deal coming up in the overnight.
Yeah, people got to remember straight line winds can be just as heavy as a low wind tornado. We're talking straight line winds upwards of 70 miles per hour. So we're talking about a low wind EF0 tornado possible. So, but the bottom line is we got to keep an eye on this line here. Any kinks along this line, you can get those spin up tornadoes. So that's kind of what's happening up here in this neck of the woods. But again, Prattville 212, Montgomery 233, Roanoke 313, Auburn 331, Valley about 344. Still got some time to prepare for this line of showers and storms. And again, we're talking about this prefrontal activity. So far, really nothing looks concerning. Just some rumbles of thunder here, some little burst of some shower activity. But still, the main line is the main concern as it continues its progression eastward. Severe thunderstorm warnings really all along the line, but so far just one tornado warning just west of the Alexander City area. So far so good. And again, this is a radar indicated tornado. This is not one that has been detected on the ground. There hasn't been any debris detected in the air from the radar system, or TDS is what we like to call it, tornado debris signature. That hasn't been detected. So this is just a radar indicated. There's indication of rotation on the radar site, the velocity mode, but so far nothing has been confirmed as of yet. But there is some damage, and some of that could be, again, from the straight line winds. You get 70 mile per hour straight line winds. It could still do some damage, especially if you've got loose items. It could blow things around quite a bit. In fact, if you're at home, you're watching this right now, if you've got some trash cans that maybe don't have any trash in them, it can make them very light. They can roll around a little bit. You might want to put them maybe closer to the house and away from the wind, because it's going to be coming from west to east. So make sure you secure those loose items if you can do that sometime this morning or the next, I would say, hour or so. So we've got a little bit of time here in east central Alabama, west central Georgia. But again, this line is moving pretty quickly. The good news is your main threats are going to be damaging wind gusts and isolated tornadoes. Hail, not a big threat, and localized flooding. That's not a big threat there either because of the speed of this line. And of course, once this line gets through 10 o'clock this morning, Bob, things are going to start to improve. In fact, by this afternoon, we can very well see some sunshine.
Yeah, you're going to be outside saying, hey, this feels good. But the warning would be, Brian, as you just mentioned, is the straight line wind potential with this. You could see Montgomery County now, wind speeds detected by radar, 70 miles per hour, and potential a little bit of hail too. We haven't talked much about that, but when we say threat tornado possible, because that's the history of this line, and the way it's coming in at such speed, you get what's little rotation. So you're not getting like supercell activity, you're just getting a lot of spin because of the way it's bowing out a little bit. So you could see that line, and you can already see that right along the line from Montgomery County all the way down to Greenville, Alabama, south and west of that line through here, this is all going to be wind. And if there's any tornadoes, it would be along that physical line. So here's the latest, what we're looking at. You can see, no doubt, the system is starting to crank up. It's coming in a very warm atmosphere. We were talking about that. We can go live right now over to Toomer's Corner. Let me just show you what's going on in Lee County. Ahead of that, the wind. So this is really what's showing you how this atmosphere is very energized with this persistent wind and the rain coming in and even more wind on the heels of this. We're going to end up having some damage with this. Clearly, there'll be a lot of toppled trees. I would expect a lot of power outages with this. This is what the history of the storm has been doing. Meteorologist Kaylee Barbie was tracking it earlier this morning, and she's been getting reports and kind of tipping it off to us. She says, Bob, this has been nothing but a power headache for people on the opposite side of the state and West Alabama and back in Mississippi, the history. So with the temperatures, as we just talked about, in the 70s, as Brian was showing us, farther south and west. We got 70 in Phoenix City now, just about all Russell County at 70. Fort Moore right here at Lawson Field, 70. Lumpkin, Stewart County, 69. We're all in the upper 60s to 70, all south of Columbus. If you're north of Columbus, you're already in the mid to upper 60s. Look at Pine Mountain, 66. So the atmosphere is very unstable, even at this hour, 3:12 Eastern, 2:12 Central Time on this Sunday morning. And imagine if this is during the daylight hours, this would not be good. So again, this is a very strong system. Be prepared for power outages. That's what I'm saying. If you have a NOAA weather radio, you want to keep in touch with us, then that's the best way, too, to see your latest weather updates if power goes out. You can have the WRBL radar app. We have the flow code here on your screen. If you were just to kind of capture that right now, meteorologist Kaylee Barbie also has weather preparedness on there as well, which will give you a link to all the shelters. So if you feel unsafe, if you're in a mobile home and you're up with us right now, and you know you can get to a tornado shelter like the Russell County Sports Complex, giving that as an example. If you click that flow code, hit weather preparedness tornado shelters, there's actually directions. You can click it. The directions will take you where you need to go. So if you feel unsure about that now, go with your gut and do that just to be safe. But again, this will be primarily a wind event, not looking at big tornadoes, but we're looking at a lot of wind, and there will be a couple weak spin-up tornadoes along the line. But as it bows out like this, its behavior is starting to show some of its signs out there right now, as we showed you live. So the latest track of this, and we look at what's called velocity scans, is obviously a very strong winds that are coming out of it. And Brian, you could tell when we look at this, some of these winds that are coming towards radar are picking up 51-mile-an-hour winds, 56. So this is a kind of energy that's headed in our direction. And that's going like towards Maxwell Air Force Base, that radar, so you could kind of get an idea of what's happening. But again, tornado watch for everybody watching. Clay, Quimmin, and Randolph, you're not in it, should I say, but you will be likely. But just keep in mind, everybody, conditions are favorable for that. But really, again, this is a wind event, and there's going to be a considerable amount of probably debris damage. Even if you want to get outside later this afternoon, just keep in mind there could be a lot of trees, and there'll still be some wind, too. So, again, it's a live look. And as you can see right now, Brian, this is no doubt a windy picture out there.
Yeah. You see that the toilet paper streaming in the wind there. And, of course, when you're talking about straight line winds, we could be seeing 70 miles per hour. It was just showing you 56, 51 miles per hour. Some high winds aloft that they can transfer to the ground. That can cause some damage. So that hence the severe thunderstorm warnings all along this line here. Just one tornado warning, again, just west of Alexander City. I'm not sure if Birmingham is mentioning anything about extending that further eastward to include Alexander City, but the bottom line is, if you're in Alexander City, you probably want to take cover just to be on the safe side as the line of showers and storms now getting ready to enter the Montgomery, the city of Montgomery, and you got, again, we got some prefrontal activity, but really nothing that is really concerning, or at least looks concerning at this point, because a lot of times you can get some cellular activity out in front of the line, and those can pose an even greater tornado risk because they're tapping into a lot of the energy that would normally be taken away from that line of showers and storms. So they're tapping into their own energy basically, and kind of sucking that in and just really producing some rough weather. Can be some pretty damaging stuff there. But getting into the northern part of this line, Alexander City there, you got Davidson, Roanoke, Lafayette, just a little few showers and thunderstorm, maybe a little bit of lightning and hearing some thunder might wake you up a little bit. But again, the stronger the line of showers and storms. A little bit further off to the west, continuing to march, and it looks like it's actually picking up speed the further it progresses through the state of Alabama, because it was still pretty, I would say, relatively slower than expected. If you remember, we came on the air yesterday morning, and it looked like things were coming in about 3 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, the line is a little slower than expected, but the bottom line is that's why we have that big window of weather awareness from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. to make sure that we cover the entire time period when we expect this line of showers and storms to be approaching east central Alabama, west central Georgia.
So, Brian, now that we have this severe thunderstorm warning, as you just said, the speed is definitely conjuring up this quick moving severe thunderstorm warnings now for Chambers, Randolph, and Tallapoosa counties. And of course, Chambers and County in our News 3 viewing area is part of that. And that includes Lafayette, as Brian just pointed out. And if you're in these areas here, Roanoke to the south from 3 o'clock Central Time. So really coming up in the next 44 minutes, we're going to end up having some potential of some damaging wind. The history of this has been consistent with power outages. Even in Sylacauga, which is just off to the west, you can see it right here, getting numerous reports in Sylacauga, Alabama, right here, of power outages right now. And the reason for it is the nature of the squall line. It is providing so much wind coming in and out of here, we'll end up seeing a lot of trees that are toppling over. And that's going to be the case as we get into the rest of this morning. We look at, of course, the velocity scans on here, and there is definitely a considerable amount of wind, and we continue to monitor that. So with this wind, even if some, picking it up even a high aloft, 76, 44 mile per hour winds. And you can see our wind speed for the severe thunderstorm warnings. Our radar indicated, Brian, but this is enough to say, okay, this entire line's covering so much real estate, there's no doubt that there's going to be a lot of trees down and there's going to be a lot of power outages. So this is going to be a power outage nightmare this morning coming up for the entire News 3 viewing area as this comes in. We haven't even gotten it into our area officially. So just to anticipate, because of the nature how fast it's moving, confidence is high with a lot of wind here. So if you're in Chambers County, which is in our News 3 viewing area, some of you guys here, I know a lot of you guys over here in Tallapoosa watch us as well, but this area here, expect coming up at least within the next 45 minutes could experience winds kicking up from 40 to up to 70 miles an hour along that entire line. Where you see that light green there, that dark green, that's where all that wind is coming in right now, Brian. So this is definitely going to be quite busy indeed, and we want people to be ready for that as well, as you can see.
Yeah, it's still sit a few kinks in the line. That's one of the parts of the line we really got to keep an eye on, because that's where you get those spin up tornadoes. A couple of kinks here along the line. One just north of Montgomery there, probably approaching the Wetumpka area. So you got Alexander City. This was that little kink that we were talking about earlier. Looks like they've dropped the tornado warning with that, so that's good news. So right now, no tornado warnings along this line of strong to severe storms, continuing to march very quickly off to the east now, getting ready to make its way through the Montgomery area down toward Greenville, further northward up toward the Woodland area, and of course Jackson's Gap just to the east here. So get ready. You're getting ready to get socked with some pretty high winds at this point. Again, we'll continue to watch for those kinks in that line, but right now, good news is we don't have any active tornado warnings.
Yeah, just severe thunderstorm warnings. That's it. And we're going to see, most of East Alabama will be under a severe thunderstorm warning. Now, with the tornado watch, it's in place because it's favorable for producing tornadoes along the line. So we're thinking at this point, what Brian and I are looking at, we haven't had anything confirmed tornado-wise, and that's some good news. The bad news is it's all wind. And we were saying this with meteorologist Kaylee Barbie this morning, that it's going to be nothing but wind, wind, wind. And that's the history of this. So be prepared for some strong damaging wind. This could topple a lot of trees over this morning. Don't head outside. If you notice power lines down, generally they do get choked off. There's a sense that people want to get out there and rush and see what's happening. Just call. And I can tell you this, power companies are going to know, like Tallapoosa Power, there's Alabama Power in Alabama. They know what to do. They know where to go. So don't ever get out there, because if the power doesn't shut off a part of the grid, you have lines of electricity that can really extend out for many feet, and you could be electrocuted. So be safe. Note that the trees that are going down will be toppling over a lot of these power lines, especially weakened pines. There's a lot of that out there. So it's a lot of real estate this is covering. So if you were in Hughley at 3:32 Central Time, for example, there's likely going to be severe thunderstorm winds in your area. It may not be exactly at your house, but it's going to be in the area. Auburn and Opelika coming up around 3:20 this morning in the next hour Central Time. It's going to get very windy here. It's going to be damaging wind likely, and enough wind that could topple trees over. If you're in Nottawasaga, the same thing coming up at the top of the hour. Mount Meigs, it's backing up a little bit. You can see in Montgomery right now. It's going to be right there coming up at 45 minutes after the hour. At Jackson's Gap, around 40 minutes after the hour, and at the bottom of the hour from Montgomery here, it's just right on the heels here, probably within the next 9 minutes. If you are in East Alabama and you know anybody over in Montgomery, you can see how close it is. It's just right there now. So Montgomery's definitely going to be seeing some winds that could be damaging indeed, and this is why we want to keep an eye on that. If you look here, again, you can see it's very sharp and defined. It's moving quickly, and as that severe thunderstorm warning boxes continue across East Alabama, it will also continue west central Georgia. We were looking at yesterday, and O'Brien, you're talking about this morning. We were talking about this yesterday morning. A lot of this looked like on some of the model data that this could be probably discrete kind of cells. So the good news is this stuff popping up around here in Stewart County. You want to keep an eye on that because sometimes that could rotate a little bit. We're not seeing any signs of that right now, and the atmosphere is pretty unstable. So everything on this, we look at this just to see if there's any kind of spin or rotation with it. And what we see right now, everything's moving forward, and that's good news. But the bad news is it's just this is all going to be wind, and everybody's going to experience something. So it's kind of half dozen one or the other. But again, it's a lot of wind with this, and it's still we got to see how this behaves when it gets in this real juicy environment. I mean, you're talking 70 degrees here, 60s, Brian,
yeah.
Upper 60s, and dew points are real high. But when we look at this over in Montgomery County, for example, when we have tornado possible, is because we're seeing a lot of spin and rotation right along the line, way up in the atmosphere. If that manifests down at the surface, it does even more damage when it comes to wind. So when you see we're considerable, when you have 70-mile-per-hour winds, and we're seeing some evidence of that, that is a big deal. So just to give you an example, we look at the radar that you see right now is coming out of areas outside of, I think this is coming out of Peachtree. No, this is actually coming out of areas of, I'm sorry, this is outside of Maxwell. Mm-hmm. And so we are looking at the winds coming towards this radar site that are pretty considerable. So you're looking at 59. You can see these last scans that just came in here, almost 60 miles an hour. Some radar indicated a little bit higher. So this is just a general analysis. Some of this is a little bit higher, but where this radar site is, it's picking this up fairly close to the surface. And you get any embedded areas around here, that's the damaging factor. And you could see, look how much that's going to cover. I mean, it's the entire county pretty much, and Montgomery County right now.
Yeah, and one thing, if you notice something, I was watching something as the radar was in motion. If you notice real closely, it looks like the front is actually outracing the prefrontal activity. In other words, it's catching up with it, and it's kind of becoming one line. And sometimes when the line catches up with that prefrontal activity, you can get a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, and that will cause some of those spin-up tornadoes too. So you got to watch that. So we talk about the prefrontal activity. That's good news. We don't see a whole lot of it, but as it makes its way into that line of showers and storms, sometimes you can get a spin-up. You can get a kink in the line because you've got things going in different directions. So got to watch out for that. There's not a whole lot of bowing, but you see there's a couple of segments here that got a little bit of some bowing out, looks like, and you could get some of those spin-up tornadoes there. In fact, that area that caused that tornado warning just west of Alexander City still showing a little bit of a bow. So I'm sure the National Weather Service is continuing to watch that. But right now, again, there's no active tornado warnings along this line, just all severe thunderstorm warnings, of course, for damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. We're going to continue to watch things. And, of course, you can get some of these tags that say tornado possible. Maybe there's a little bit of spin in the atmosphere, but it's not translating to the ground. So they're definitely saying, hey, we got some high winds, but right now we don't detect an actual tornado, or we're not picking up anything that would be strong enough to indicate a tornado. So they put the tornado possible tag on there just to kind of heighten the awareness, so to speak, and keep an eye on things. But again, we're continuing to watch this entire line of showers and storms. And the good news is, Bob, by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, this thing should be through the entire viewing area, and things will start to improve. And hopefully we'll see some sunshine later on this afternoon. But we got some colder weather coming in, too.
Yeah, you know it. And that's a good point. The colder weather is what's driving this machine. Yeah. There's a lot of energy behind it. And when you have cold air slamming into this warm air, that's a big deal. You heard the term derecho when you have big wind events that could travel hundreds of miles, and it envelops so much land area that it could actually encounter a lot of wind damage, and they could travel and hold and sustain its energy. In 2018 being compared as much power outages as we're seeing this morning, very reminiscent of that 28 derecho outbreak of like a huge line of just nothing but wind that came through mid-Tennessee down to the Gulf of Mexico. So Alabama power. Tallapoosa power, going to have a lot of issues here this morning, and I'm already going to say areas in Georgia. So Georgia power, diverse power, linesmen are getting ready for some major power outages coming up. I'm sure they're going to get ready to deploy. They're standing by. So always give it up for our linesmen and women that if you're watching, and folks that know who these people are. They're first responders to us, and they got a lot of work to do. So please be very careful. Remember, they know what to do. If there's a power line down, they're going to get to it. You can always go to our flow code, and you can check out the latest there for weather preparedness and get the latest weather updates. But in addition to that, you can also check out, when I say this about as far as the power outages, you could go to X, and you could go to Alabama Power. You can go to Tallapoosa Power, and you can report power outages that way. They appreciate that. But whatever you do, the worst thing you can do for any first responders, police, fire, EMS, anybody, stay off the roads until this goes through. And as Brian just said, I mean, it's going to be tempting to get out there tomorrow, and there could be a lot of downed trees. So just, it's probably a good thing this is happening on a Sunday, not a Monday morning when there's school buses, and there would be probably a lot of delays because they want to make sure everybody's safe. So already coming in Chambers County, we're going to see Lee County and Macon County very shortly here under severe thunderstorm warnings on the same line. It's just based on where it's blowing out right now. So right now in the News 3 viewing area, it's just Chambers County, not including Valley and Lynette just yet, but it will eventually. And this line is moving. We have it set at about 40 miles an hour moving east, and I'm pushing it a couple miles an hour ahead. It's probably more like 38 if you're really trying to be real specific here. But to do it so it's pretty close to what we're looking at, to give you enough heads up, this is the likely time when we start seeing the potential damaging wind. So this is a widespread damaging wind event right now. If you're just joining us on Facebook, WRBL.com, Simone Gibson's on there, our digital producer and producer overnights. And we got meteorologist Nicole Phillips. She is on all your social news pages too. So if you're posting, Nicole can answer questions here. Meteorologist Brian Thomas, myself are in here. Meteorologist Kaylee Barbie taking a break from early morning, and meteorologist Cody Nickel will be ready to tee up on Monday morning. So the First Alert Weather Team's been talking about this all week, and we want to make sure that everybody understands that this is a big wind event if you're joining us. So it's going to continue. There'll be numerous severe thunderstorm warnings along this line, which we're already seeing. The history of this is it keeps coming in right now. I'll say this right now, Brian, Montgomery Airport. So that, remember I just showed you the velocity speed on that. Yeah. It is 70 miles an hour. They actually clocked it officially. So it was measured at the airport at 70 miles an hour. So this is serious business.
Yeah, no doubt.
So this is why we're looking at considerable, and when we say considerable, it could be considerable damage with it. Wind does this as much damage as tornadoes would be more isolated and tight. This is widespread wind. So this is going to have more of an impact on all of you watching right now. So you typically, when we give a tornado warning or spin up tornado, we'd say it's just in this particular area. This is wind, and we're already having confirmed wind speeds at 70 miles an hour in parts of Montgomery. So this is a big deal for sure, and it's going to continue to be that way over the next few hours. It's 3:30 local time, Eastern time. It's 2:30 Central time. We're measuring in Central time right now. So again, if you're in Roanoke, we're looking at coming up here at the top of the hour, which is about a half hour to see some potential strong damaging winds. Farther south in Chambers County, Lafayette, you'd be included in that right from Valley before 3:30. So that's Central Time. Phoenix City, which is Eastern Time, would be 5 o'clock this morning. So if you're in Phoenix City around 5 and Columbus, Georgia, just figure around 5 o'clock. So if you're with us right now and you got to catch that extra hour and you're just trying to catch to see what's going on with the system, be prepared. It'll be probably within the next hour and a half. Winds are going to be considerable, especially in populated areas like Auburn, especially areas just like Columbus, Georgia, Phoenix City, Smith Station. You're going to notice that this wind coming in here is going to be considerable. So if you have any trees in their weekend, this could be a problem. Brian, look at this wind here that you're looking at right now.
Yeah, 16 in Columbus, 21 in Pine Mountain, LaGrange. Look at that, 22. Auburn, Opelika, 16. Fort Moore, 13 miles per hour. These are current winds. These aren't wind gusts. These are wind speeds. 14 in Butler. Look at America's 12. Eufaula, a little bit lower, 7, but you can see the toilet paper over at Toomer's Corner really blowing in the wind here in Auburn as they're seeing what, teens as far as wind speeds. Look at the temperature, 66 in Auburn, Opelika, 68 in Columbus, Phoenix City, 70. In fact, we were in Auburn earlier today around 3 or 4 o'clock, and it was 59 degrees. And you see where the temperature is now, 66. Yeah. We went to the Auburn game tonight, and you could actually feel the air get warmer very quickly. You could tell the warm front was lifting northward, and we're definitely south of that warm front now as air is quite juicy out there, anywhere from mid-60s to around 70 degrees as this entire line of showers and storms, these severe storms continue to march eastward. Straight line damaging winds right now is the main threat. We're talking about wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. We just mentioned the Montgomery Airport clocking 70 plus miles per hour there. So definitely that is the main concern at this point as this line races off to the east. I mean, it's covering, if you looked at the radar when it was in motion, within an hour's time, it had traveled about 100 miles. So it's moving very, very quickly, and it's going to be approaching the area. Roanoke, about 30 minutes away toward the top of the hour. Auburn, about 30 to 45 minutes away. And then, of course, here in the Fountain City, Phoenix City, looking at around 5 o'clock Eastern time is when we expect this line to finally make its way into the Chattahoochee Valley. But definitely watching for some embedded spins within this line as it continues to race off to the east. Could see some spin-up tornadoes. That's why you have a tornado watch. So it just simply means that conditions are favorable for the formation of a tornado or two. So you got the tornado watch in east central Alabama. That goes until 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock Central time, and then the tornado watch in Georgia until 9 o'clock. And of course, as that system continues to march off to the east, they will be trimming some of these counties from the tornado watch. So once this line comes through, then we can just about call it all clear for a lot of the counties. But until then, we got to keep an eye on things very, very closely. Get any kinks in that line. You can get some spin-up tornadoes, and like I said, these straight line winds can be just as bad as a low-end tornado. It could knock down trees, and of course you get down trees, you get down power lines, and it could cause a real big mess, especially from a power standpoint, because a lot of folks getting ready to get up this morning, go to church, things like that. It's kind of hard to get ready when there's no power. So, that's something that obviously Alabama Power, Diverse Power, a lot of the power institutions in Alabama would be keeping an eye on things. And we've had a lot of reports of downed power lines and downed trees back into West Alabama and Central Alabama already this morning. So obviously, as this line moves eastward, that is the main concern. Straight line winds, down trees, down power lines. But again, because of the tornado watch and the factors that are involved here, we could get some spin-up tornadoes, and that is continuing to be the thing that we're going to be watching very, very closely, especially as it marches eastward, eventually getting into east central Alabama here within the next 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, and Brian, we're still looking at hail with this too. It's not that it's a lot, but we're seeing hail, at least close to quarter-sized hail. And again, this is embedded in here along this line, and I haven't even shown some of the lightning that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lightning on here. So considerable amount of lightning as we're talking about in addition to this. So the lightning is an issue. The wind that's preceding us, as Brian said, steady wind gusts up to 15, 18 miles an hour. And we're not even talking about the physical line coming here just yet. And when it does, that's where we're going to end up seeing some big changes coming up here. As far as seeing any of this lightning, you can see certainly there's quite a bit of lightning strikes. The height of these storms, when we look at this too, you could see how, as Brian pointed out that earlier, and I thought that was interesting to see how that front is converging with this line. It causes a little twisting and spin up. So you can see a little anvil spinning here. These storms are roughly maybe the very tops of them, and the base of where the heavy rain is coming is like 20,000 feet and just under 30. So these aren't your big supercell, but there's no doubt seeing so much energy at the low level. You could see how we're seeing that little bit of a kink and how it's going to be spinning around here, even at 10, 20,000 feet. So there's a lot of energy right along this line completely. We're looking at areas around Mount Meg, so we're seeing how it's getting closer coming into areas of Macon County and Lee counties. There's Pike Road in Alabama. Let's take it all the way up to Tallahassee, and you could see these areas here. So any of these areas here coming from Shepherd Hill, Tysonville, Gibson, Shorter, Alabama, just so you get a perspective of how this whole line is operating. It has been producing damaging wind if you're just joining us. Enough damaging wind over a great area of coverage is going to result in a lot of downed trees, tree limbs, a lot of hazards coming up on your Sunday morning here. It's 3:35 right now in the morning, but once we get later this morning, we're going to see probably a string of a lot of downed trees in your driveway. We want to watch even post-storm if any of these trees weaken, if they topple over. There will be, not maybe, there are going to be power outages. So if you're watching us now, I think it's just a good friendly reminder, a couple things we can do. Meteorologist Brian Thomas is going to get us over on Q107.3 FM. If it gets bad enough that we know we're losing power and you guys need to do that, News 3 will be operating. We're all generators, so that's what we do at news stations. But we also got to keep in mind that we're going to be, of course, right here at Facebook. We're at WRBL.com. Simone is keeping us updated there. We got meteorologist Nicole Phillips. She's keeping us updated on social media, so you're going to be able to have updates from Nicole right here on News 3 on your WRBL radar app. So if you see the flow code on your screen here, we're just right now giving you as much information so when it really hits the fan, and if you know anybody who's not up yet and they call, what's going on? Well, we're just watching Bob and Brian a few moments ago, and this is what you need to know. So check that flow code out. If you're concerned about where do I got to go, Bob, where do we have to go, Brian, you can hit the flow code. Meteorologist Kaylee Barbie has weather preparedness there for you. If you go ahead and scan that, and it's going to take you to weather preparedness page. It's also going to show you all the shelters in East Alabama, safe shelters. So if you feel like, I don't think this is safe, and if you're in a mobile home with this kind of event, even though you're looking at this line coming in, it is a good idea to be where it's safe. You have a lot of trees around you. They could topple over on a dwelling. Move into something safe. They would be worth it. You got plenty of time, but it's moving fast because we're talking about within the next 45 minutes in East Alabama here. In fact, let me get you another time coming up as we talk about this tornado watch. Conditions are favorable, but besides the tornado watch value, it's all wind, and this whole line is going to do just that. So now we're under, and of course, Nicole's posting this right now, most of East Alabama from our Chambers County, all of Lee County right now, Macon County, Bullock County, and Pike County are all under severe thunderstorm warnings with considerable threat of damaging wind. A tornado possible along this entire line too at any given spot. Any tornado could develop, but just forget about that. If you think, oh, there's no tornado, it's okay. It's the wind that's an issue here, and it's considerable because we've already clocked at Montgomery Airport, confirmed a 70-mile-an-hour gust with this, and we're not even talking about that yet. So the preceding winds have been consistent of 15, 18, 20 miles per hour ahead of it, and very warm air, quite unstable. Then you introduce this line coming in, my friends, and then now what are we talking about? More damage. You're going to see trees toppling over and more power outages. In fact, Noble Street in Addiston, Alabama, roads completely covered with trees. This is a mess. Power lines down 857, Alabama 22. Alabaster, all this is coming in right now. So Wilmer Avenue in Addiston. So the history of this has been nothing but wind damage, and that is not, Brian, as you know, moving almost 40 miles an hour to the east. If you're in Tallahassee, 2:45 Central Time. Roanoke, as we get in Tallapoosa counties, about 3 o'clock Central Time, which is about 20 minutes out. If you're in Auburn, we're talking about 3:15. Okay, so that's almost a half hour away, a little over a half hour. Lynette and Valley, you're talking about 28 minutes after the hour, so we're just under an hour, about 50 minutes from now. Crawford going into areas of Ladonia in Russell County, including Smith Station in Lee County, Phoenix City. Look at about almost 4 o'clock, like 10 to 4 this morning, about really 350 is 450. It's about 4:50 in the morning, so it'd be, of course, Eastern time. Lee County, of course, you're talking about 350 around Smith Station. So this line is a serious line. It's posing considerable risk of seeing damaging wind, period. And it's covering the whole counties here that we're talking about. So again, Chambers, and really right now, this is Chambers County, which is about western Chambers County. Eastern Chambers County will probably be updated under a severe thunderstorm warning. Lee County, entire Lee County, Beauregard, everybody under a severe thunderstorm warning with considerable threat of wind damage and a potential of isolated tornadoes. And south of Tallahassee, Union Springs in Pike County, Alabama, and then that's eventually going to work into Russell and Barber counties. We haven't even talked about our Georgia side yet, guys. So right now we're dealing with East Alabama, and so again, those are your times we're looking at. So Brian, take it seriously, and this is your time to probably just get a little seek shelter as long as you can. And if you're in East Alabama and you're watching us now, this is a time to go in your safe spot. I would say just to play it safe. We don't want trees going down. And the thing is, you don't want to be out in this, right, Brian, when this stuff is going on. It's the worst thing you do is to try to do it when the storm's doing it. Otherwise, get in a low-level area in a sturdy dwelling, enough walls between you and the outside. But again, if you have a lot of trees around you, and a lot of our friends at Lake Bottom area, I'm worried about that. I was talking to friends of mine today. A shout out to Chattahoochee Sail Club up in Harris County. I was there last night. And we were just talking about this. A lot of residents that are in the Lake Bottom area, and there's so many trees. We had that tornado in 2009, and that certainly created a lot of problems. A lot of trees go down. So we want you to be safe. Just get into that low-level area, and you should be good.
Yeah, make sure you've got some tennis shoes around, some pretty hard-soled tennis shoes. Also, you want to have a flashlight. If you lose power, you got to see, right? Until the sun comes up, it's going to be dark. So make sure you got to be able to have a way to get around and watch around. Because a lot of times, if a lot of times when you have damaging wind gusts or tornadoes, if you get damage to your home and you don't have any shoes around, it's going to be kind of hard to get around. So that's why we always suggest having some shoes, some hard-soled shoes, definitely not flip-flops, anything like that. Make sure you got some good tennis shoes, some flashlights so you can get around, you can see things like that. But again, look at the little kink here. Got to watch out for stuff like that just north of the Tallahassee area. But again, getting into Auburn about 3:13 Central Time. So we're looking at about 30 minutes away from getting into the Auburn area. So Tallahassee under the gun right now. Auburn 30 minutes away. Valley about 30 to 40 minutes away. And then of course we get into Phoenix City and Columbus toward the top of the hour. So definitely this line is making its way very, very quickly. And again, it looks like it's kind of outrunning this prefrontal activity, which is good news because it lessens the tornado risk a little bit. But as it comes upon this prefrontal activity, it can cause some spin-ups and cause some kinks. Of course, like I said, you've got a little bit of a kink right there. A lot of times you can get a little spin right there. So we got to be careful of those. And a lot of times when your front, it speeds up, a lot of times you can get those bowing segments. And of course, you can get spin-ups around those bowing segments as well. So got to keep an eye on things. And of course, tornado possible just simply means they're getting rotation in the upper part of the atmosphere. It just hasn't transferred into the lower part of the atmosphere, hence just a severe thunderstorm warning instead of a tornado warning. Yeah,
Brian, right now, I'll give you the latest updates on the history of the storm. Just moments ago at 3:42 this morning, this is Central Time, which would be Eastern on here, but it's Central 2:42. A tree has fallen on a house off of Andrew Jackson Road. This is in the Alexander City area. Fire departments are en route. We got a tornado warning right now.
There.
And there you go. So this is what's coming along that line. So Lee County, this is north, just so you know, it's not all of Lee County. This is northwest Lee County. And to let you know, the First Alert Weather Team, we're first to inform you, first on air this morning, and keeping you updated on this hours ahead of time with meteorologist Kaylee Barbie since 11:30 yesterday. So we continue to keep you updated here. So trees are down on Wetumpka, just to let you know, Eclectic, Mimosa Road in Deatsville, Grass Farm Road in Wetumpka too, and now the tornado warning on top of it in southern Tallapoosa and western Lee County. And the circulation is just east about Red Hill area. So if you know where that is, right now It's just, this is just, there's a couple people right here. There's right around the panhandle of the county. They're looking at possibly a TDS. So let me look at this. We're starting to see a little kink here, Brian. Let's see if they're going to update this here. What we need to do is here, let me, I'm going to stop this just for a second, and we're going to kind of dissect this storm a little bit. If you're in this area here, so we're going to focus on this. This will be the first thread in our area, and we're going to go ahead and see if there's any debris that we're looking at this. This is not showing any debris that I see at this point.
Yeah, I don't see any.
Yeah, so let's go back and show where the tornado is. So this is what we're looking at. So right now we got a confirmed tornado. This is a confirmed tornado, and we're going to go ahead and start tracking this tornado and show you what's going on. We're first on it here for you. So we're going to go, let's just kind of give a time on here. So here's the tornado right here. You can see it looks like 2 areas of rotation, and we got a little rotation that's right about here. It's kind of more broad, but you got a little spin here and there. So the whole broad area in this area, but we're going to track it from where it is, where ponders are, and this kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at. So I'm going to take it out to Waverly, Alabama, just so if you guys are watching us. This is just clip in like the Middlebrooks Crossroads area of Lee County. So this is not Auburn. Just want you guys to just kind of get an idea so you know. So if you're in Waverly, we're talking about like 3:08 Central Time, Jamesville around 3:03 Central Time, and the Mary area as well. In Elmore, we got transformers reported blown now. Yeah. So a lot of you guys watching in these areas are going to start losing power, as we said. And you can see it right there, Brian. Yeah, we'll get you the circulation right on this side. Yeah. So you can see right about here, that's right where our tornado is. It's spinning, and it's moving rapidly. So you have the flow code on your screen. If you are South Lee County, really, if you haven't gotten a safe spot, you need to do that right now. This whole line will bring this kind of threat level in here, not to mention just damaging wind. So we have an observed tornado in northwest Lee County and just clipping potentially into Tallapoosa County as well. And this is the latest track that we have right now. So stay on this so you just kind of have an idea if you're watching us in East Alabama. I'll get a little closer here for you. If you're in the Church Hill Road area, if you know where these are, Lee Road 71. It looks like it's going to be north of you, but let's get in our safe spot. Valley Road, I would get in your safe spot too. This is just to the north of you, because if there's any debris with this can be certainly a big hazard. Also around County Road, Lee Road 69 as well. So we want you guys to be in your safe spot right now in these areas. It's important to note that with this as well, if any power goes out, you got that flow code. Check us out at WRBL.com. We're on Facebook. We're all over the place here, and we can even get you on Q107.3 FM if that's need be once we get at that right spot. We're also on social media, keeping you updated, so you have ways. So we don't want anyone to panic. Just keep in mind, this entire line is going to continue to do this over the next 2.5 hours or 3 hours. And we're first to inform you, been first on air, hours ahead. And if you're just joining us, you can trust us to keep on this until it passes through. It's moving fast here, Brian. So there you go. Let's go to our, I'm going to give this to you, Brian, here. Let's go over to our correlation coefficient. And let's talk about if there's any debris here with the, there's some debris. So we have debris. It's confirmed. So here's our debris right here. So if you're in the Ponders area, Sandy Drive, there's debris right through here. This is a serious situation, and this is a confirmed tornado in northwest Lee County. And if you're in this area right now, this is where you all need to be in your safe spot. So if you're at Churchill Road and you want to seek shelter immediately right through here, right along Alabama State Route 50, anybody along that route between Sandy Drive to Churchill Road should be in their safe spot right now. South Thornton Road as well.
Yeah, if you're in the Ponders area, you need to be in your safe place right now. Traveling along Highway 50 over toward Churchill Road. And something to note too, a little bit further off to the west-northwest, not quite in the tornado warning, but Lafayette, a little bit bigger city, definitely going to be pretty close to you. So if you're in the Lafayette area, I would be watching this very, very closely. If it continues on, here's Lafayette up here. Looks like it could go pretty close to Lafayette, maybe just to the south here along 431, traveling southward toward Waverly, down to Colbrook. You've got some definite rotation here. Observed tornado, some TDS, that's the debris signature, with it being 3:48 in the morning. it's probably not observed by the eye, it's observed by the radar, being able to pick up the debris, bricks, boards, glass, things like that it's picking up, maybe trees getting picked up and torn up and picked up in the air. You're getting those return radars, return on the radar system, so that's why you're getting that tornado debris signature, But here is your tornado right here, moving off to the east-northeast. Again, this is observed Lee County, Tallapoosa. This is northwestern Lee County getting into Tallapoosa County. And again, we'll continue to watch things as it gets up toward Chambers County. Again, you got Lafayette right up here. You got Oak Bowery, Waverly. As this thing continues to move off to the east-northeast, you want to get in your safe spot. Culbra, 313, Oak Bowery, looking at 318, Danway, 323, Cassetta, 330. You want to be in your safe spot. If you're within any one of those cities, we've got a confirmed tornado on the ground moving off to the east-northeast.
Okay, Brian, so right now we're looking at what's circulation. Looks like it's still kind of holding up here, right around Sandy Drive. Coming up towards Churchill Drive right now, and we do have a debris signature too, as we just said. So the debris signature is kind of lost in this last scan, but we still have enough rotation. This could be cycling a little bit, but a lot of times these spin up as quick as they do, and they disappear just as fast. You know, they get kind of enveloped. But we definitely had a confirmed tornado northwest, and we're going to still track this as we continue right through this area. So we still have a confirmed tornado. And on the last couple scans here, let's see if we can, we'll try to find it back here. We'll get the better radar site and show you what's going on. So anyway, let's see which one we're going to go at. We're going to see if we can go back to, I'm going to try to just get Maxwell here and see if we can get a better read on that. Okay. And, okay, let's go back here. But again, if this line continues to hold up the way we see it, everybody going in this very unstable atmosphere, and here's our next tornado warning right now in Tuskegee. So let's go down to Macon. This is radar indicated, So this one here, it's literally right along that line. So it's right down in this area. So we got a couple areas of rotation. County Road 2, County Road 20, Bell Quarters. You want to just get in your safe spot. It's pretty broad, but we have it looks like it's more right around here, and we got a little bit of like kind of broad rotation here. Let's just see if we could get this thing and put it in motion here for you. So here we go. Let's get back onto, there we go. It looks kind of broad here, Cross Keys Road. And this potential Doppler indicated tornado or just wind damage that could be associated with this right around County Road 29, right along US 80, LaPlace, County Road 73, County Road 20 in Macon County, guys. Just make sure, too, if you're in Tuskegee, these areas here, you want to seek shelter as fast as you can. You can see all the way through Little Texas. So that takes us into almost the panhandle of Lee County. So if you're a lot of folks watching in Beauregard are getting a little nervous, stay with us on this. These are working along the line. And and not to mention, we don't want to leave anyone else on the severe thunderstorm warnings we have too, in addition to that. So all the way down to Pike County, Bullitt County, all the way farther north into areas up even into Carrollton, Georgia. Look how long this line goes, and even all the way up extending into areas outside of Ellijay, all these areas up in northern Georgia. So when you get up even probably places like almost Dahlonega, they're going to all be affected. But this is our local area, a little bit farther south where the spin is, and damaging wind. So if you're not in a tornado warning, you're going to end up having, that's good. The confirmed tornado has been downgraded back to this Doppler indicated here in Northwest, so we can't find it anymore. It's kind of lost its luster, and that's okay. But we still can see Lee and Tallapoosa counties still under this tornado warning, but it is now back to more Doppler indicated. The confirmed has been lost, but we're going to be back on that in just a bit. We also have another tornado warning from Shorter to Tuskegee to Little Texas. And again, this is just whole line, despite a tornado or not, my friends, this is all wind. So if you're in any of these areas, I'll put Beauregard in this too, 3:33 local time. So within the next 30 minutes or so, if you're in Beauregard, Opelika, Auburn at 20 after the hour, Tuskegee, that's obviously coming up here in 7, 8, 10 minutes, Gold Dust area, Griffin Mill, these areas are going to experience some significant winds coming in here, whether tornado or not, because it doesn't matter if these are weak spin-up tornadoes or just the wind. There's considerable amount of wind coming out of this, and you could see the areas under the severe thunderstorm warnings as it continues along this entire line. And that's why we've been tracking this for you first, the News 3 First Alert Weather Team, meteorologist Brian Thomas. We have the flow code there to give you the latest updates. If you're in west central Georgia, you're still in East Alabama in Russell County, western Lee County, Chambers, Barber County, and you're like, I'd like to know, should I go somewhere? I'm just tuning in now. Just don't panic. Never drive in this. So if you're not doing it now, then get into the lowest section, know a good safe place. You can have your NOAA weather radio handy. You can have your WRBL radar app with you right now. You can be streaming with us at WRBL.com on your phone. You can watch us on social media, Facebook, WRBL. You can check out our personal pages, Chief Meteorologist Bob Jeswald, Meteorologist Nicole Phillips, Kaylee Barbie, Brian Thomas, Cody Nickel. We're all out there right now keeping you updated. So the whole First Alert Weather Team is placed in there, and we got you updated wherever you need to get the latest weather information. With that, you want to hit weather preparedness, and that'll give you some ideas to what to know and where to go. But Brian, this is going to be another couple of hours. Yep. And maybe 3, at least till 7 o'clock this morning. 8 is a tornado watch. We have the tornado watch, which is at this point everybody, as we said it would. You know, now Clay Quinn ran. It was a little bit delayed there because they're out of Tallahassee, but we're all under the tornado watch. So anybody watching, so the tornado threat is real. It's there, but let's understand it's a wind event, and anytime there could be any kind of weak spin-up tornado, which we've already had. We already had a confirmed tornado in northwest areas of Lee County and the Tallapoosa counties. And that's going to be the reality for the rest of this morning, not to mention the wind as we get through here. We have 2 tornado warnings in the News 3 viewing area now that are radar indicated. We have the one in Macon County, and we're seeing a little bit better rotation with this. So we can get back to street level here. Back up in northwest Lee, this is not affecting Auburn. It's affecting Waverly. So if you're in Waverly, there still could be some strong winds with this rotation on this. It doesn't look like it's confirmed anymore. That's the good news. But if you're along Waverly area and parts of the southwest corner and getting right into Chambers County or into Tallapoosa County, and if you're up in northwest Lee County, around the Middlebrooks Crossroads, Lee Road 72, you could see there's still some broad rotation, and there's still probably some very strong winds here headed towards Lee Road 86, which would then go right into US 280 as you get up into areas of Tallapoosa County, Brian.
Yeah, it definitely lost a bit of its rotational characteristics. In fact, the southern tornado warning looked very similar to what the northern tornado warning looked when it first came out. You got that bowing, or you got that kink in the line, and then you get that rotational signature there, and boom, there's your tornado warning. And of course, your tornado probably going to be right about there, right around Bell Quarters Road. Going to be moving off to the east-northeast around the Liverpool area. Make sure you're in your safe spot. And of course, further up Highway 80 here. If you live along Highway 80, you would definitely want to be in your safe spot. Now just east of the LaPlace area. But again, there's your tornado, there's your rotation right there on radar. Very clearly, you can see some of that tightening up, especially right up in here. You can see that signature just really tightening up, hence the tornado warning. Good news is there's nothing observed yet. We haven't picked up any tornado debris signatures on the correlation coefficient, so that's great news with that. But you don't want to take this lightly, because straight line damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour can do some pretty good damage. In fact, let's see here. It looks like they're going to observe now, as we were just talking about this. So obviously they're picking up something on the TDS here. Let's see if we got anything on the.
Let's go back here. So yeah, we're just looking at the latest on this one here. So we're going to stay on this right now. So now as it's tightening up a little bit, that's because the line is pushing this and it's adding a lot of momentum to it. So it's going to start to spin again. So a lot of this is driven primarily from that line, the squall line. Everybody else, anyone watching along this line, you have the potential of 70-mile-an-hour winds, so damaging wind is definitely in place. If you're in Tuskegee, you need to seek shelter immediately. If you're in Little Texas, seek shelter immediately. Right along US 80, getting towards the panhandle of Lee County, we're going to be tracking this. So if you're in Society Hill, right up to about the next half hour, a potential of a tornado could be there still. It is confirmed right now, so we are seeing that. We got a little bit of debris as well on this too. So let's take a look at the debris signature on this. So we're going to be streaming at Q107.3 FM. Meteorologist Brian Thomas is going to get us on line there too. So if you're losing power, and if you are in east parts of Alabama, and you can listen to us on Q107.3 FM. That Liverpool area, there's some debris there. So this is just south of US 80. So if you are in Liverpool, you have debris all over. So please do not go outside. If you're County Road 15, County Road 45, you should be seeking shelter immediately. So you can see right through here. These are the areas you got to be concerned about. So these are areas that we're going to be watching. So Tuskegee should definitely be in their safe spot. Areas around West Montgomery Road should be in their safe spot. That crosses US 80. US 29, which would go all the way as far south as County Road 46. Seek shelter immediately. Let's get back to the radar so I can give you a better view of that. There is your confirmed tornado for the second confirmed tornado this morning. Everybody else is under severe thunderstorm warnings. That includes Troup County, Meriwether County, and now Northwest Harris County over the next few, at least hour or so. So let me give you times. This is 70-mile-an-hour winds. This is definitely confirmed. This will be potential of seeing some considerable damage along this line. We've already had a history of this across Alabama. Many trees down with the history of this line. A lot of power outages on this as well. So this is going to be kind of a messy start. Auburn, more wind coming your way. This is Harris County. If you're in areas around Luthersville, Pine Mountain, I'm going to use Pine Mountain, Georgia. In the next 45 minutes, just to give you a time stamp, winds are going to pick up considerably, and there will be some widespread potential damage here. Now that we get down to Macon County, with, again, our second confirmed tornado this morning along the line. So in addition to just some tornadoes that are spinning up along the line or kinking up here, we also have to watch for the considerable wind damage as well. So Tuskegee to Little Texas. So let's get back into what we look at as far as our debris signature. And there's a little debris southwest of Tuskegee right now. And we're going to go back to where we see the tornado itself. And you can see it right here. And that is the area we're looking at. So it's tightly wound. And there it is. It's moving fast right along this line. So it's going to start to level out here. It looks like it's starting to level out. But again, anytime this can do some quick damage as it spins up, in addition to the physical line too. So we take it out. And folks, this isn't, do not panic, please. Panic does not work, okay? Just try to ease minds. I know this gets my friends in Beauregard really nervous. It doesn't mean it's going to hit here, but I'm just putting you in the cone because it's in the vicinity. But if you're in Beauregard, Marvin, I know these are the areas we are always concerned about, what we went through in 2019. This is, you know, we just want you to be safe. So get into that safe spot now, just to be safe, because if it's not a tornado, it's going to be wind. So we got a lot of wind here. So 60, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Society Hills in that, in Little Texas. This is all Central Time. So 17 minutes after the hour. So in the next 16 minutes, if you're in Little Texas, Society Hill coming up in the next 24 minutes. Marvin in the next half hour. Beauregard within the next half hour too, along this whole entire line that is certainly producing strong wind gusts. So in addition to the potential tornado here that is confirmed still, will it hold up? That's anybody's guess because that line is moving so fast. These areas here, I'm going to take it to Griffin Mill, Hugley, Creek Stand, Auburn, Nuttlesaga, you're already in it. If you're in Tuskegee, it's passing through you right now. There's no tornado in Tuskegee. Just want to let you know, but South Tuskegee, there could be some strong wind gusts. And we're looking at these areas, Hugley at 41 minutes after, Griffin Mill, potential of 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts, or an isolated tornado at any time. Creek Stand, 25 after this morning. Beauregard, and we said the Panhandle area of Lee County, southwest, the old Marvin area, including Little Texas, right along US 80 in these areas, Auburn, and then eventually into Opelika coming up at the top of the hour. So keep that in mind. So we're talking minutes away, like 8 minutes after. So it's 3:03 Central Time, and we're talking about within the next 5 minutes in Auburn. Winds are going to be howling here. In fact, just to give you an idea, we have that confirmed tornado, but I'm seeing it becoming more broad, and the good news is that tornado is losing its function, but it has a lot of wind with this, guys. So even though it's not a tornado, it doesn't take a tornado to do damage in this case. But we're looking at wind gusts in the circulation around here about right now, about maybe half of that, 35, 40-mile-an-hour winds, because you are looking at the winds kind of not as bad as they were. So the good news is this is weakening this tornado warning in Macon County. Let's go live in Auburn. I'm going to just show you the winds here. It's just minutes away, so we're going to go live and show you this wind. Now, you got people outside here, which is not a good thing. Clearly, they're not paying attention, but as we try to update that camera network, and this has a lot to do with the power, and it's fluctuating. So we're trying to go live with the city cam, but you can kind of see how all the toilet paper from a big win, Bruce Pearl and his guys there, War Eagle, congratulations, are seeing that all blow off. They may not even need the blowers, Brian, to get that toilet paper out. So, Brian, we are streaming right now for your safety, so you know you have some ideas what's going on. A little bit farther north, we had that tornado warning on this as well, not confirmed. This will be clipping our Meriwether and Troup County. So if you're in LaGrange, I just want to point out, I know you hear the sirens, and sorry, I'm not leaving you guys out. We're just going where we know the for sure potential damages. But at this point, I don't see, it's Doppler indicated, but you need to seek shelter if you're in the Hogansville area, Hillcrest. In LaGrange, north of LaGrange, right here on US 27, let me just get down in the city. You are in that cone. So if you're on the Ashford Circle area up to Old Youngs Mill Road in LaGrange, right around the areas of Wetfield Road, just go ahead and seek shelter now immediately. Strong winds in addition to a potential tornado here. I say potential because we don't see it yet, but we have a tornado warning. We have severe thunderstorm warnings with a tornado possible right now, which would include areas around Meriwether, and now it's going into Pine Mountain to the south. So that's areas here as well. So we want to keep that in mind in Troup County, and this would take it south into Hamilton. And the reason why we say this, because the history of this line, Brian, it has lots of rotation on it, tremendous amount of rotation at a low level, but there's a lot of wind with this. This is clocking almost 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, within 20 minutes, going to be impacting the LaGrange area, Bose Cross Road, 432, Pine Mountain, 447, Greenville, 452, obviously Valley, Bose Cross Road, LaGrange right up here, of course, Caseta over in Alabama, getting ready to be under the gun. So this line continues to race off to the east into the east central Alabama, west central Georgia, of course, parts of Georgia, northern Georgia already being impacted. This line goes all the way from Tennessee all the way down into southern Alabama. So a huge line of severe storms continuing to march off the east. And again, we're dealing with some embedded little spin-up tornadoes. A couple of them have been confirmed around northern Lee County, up into Tallapoosa County, had one confirmed there. It was brief, but it definitely showed some tornado debris signature on radar. So it's picking up something, and we want to make sure that folks are able to go to their safe place and get through this. Again, we got a little bit of rotation there just east of Tuskegee, south of Auburn. This does not include the Auburn area. This is south of Auburn. You got 185 right here, runs through. You got Tuskegee, or excuse me, not 185, but 85. And then looks like around Little Texas. Yeah, a little spin there, continuing to show some rotation on radar. So if you're in Little Texas.
Excuse me, Brian, I was going to say the good news on that, right around 49. I'm looking at that. I don't even see how this is kind of so broad now, as you just said.
Yeah.
I'm not even, it's still a lot of wind with this. But they're going to probably drop this tornado warning over here in Macon County. You can see it's just weakening considerably. So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just want to let you know. So that's some good news, but there's a lot of wind with this.
Yeah, and of course you got Beauregard over here, and it could be cycling, so it could be losing its rotational characteristics, but you want to keep an eye on, because a lot of times they can fire back up, especially as long as you've got that little kink right there, you could have a spin-up tornado possible. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on that. And of course, Columbus off to the east, Waverly Hall, Pine Mountain, everybody, a lot of places yet to be impacted by this line of severe storms. And of course, you got the tornado warning just north of downtown LaGrange, parts of downtown LaGrange, the northern half of the area in that cone. So just kind of be in your safe place. Hogansville, Hillcrest, Luthersville, Greenville, you're all in this tornado warning. You want to be in your safe place. Right now, again, it's just radar indicated, but you don't want to take any chances with these things. Again, with them being spin up tornadoes, they may not be very intense, but they could spin up very quickly and can do enough damage to really cause a bad day for you.
Yeah, and this is something that we know while everybody's sleeping. This doesn't make it any easier. When you wake up, we're talking about this event's going to continue for the next 3 hours, and it's coming into west central Georgia, and it's going to be going on here for the next 3 hours of the same thing. Everybody's going to experience the potential of severe thunderstorm warnings. It's including every county when it comes through. And in addition to that, there's been a history of confirmed tornadoes. We've actually had debris in northwest Alabama right now. We had a little debris in Macon County. So we've had what we're seeing now, the evidence that these are quick spin-up tornadoes along the line. But it's the line itself that has me more concerned. Even though we're seeing the tornado warnings continue for northern Troup County, into Meriwether County, there's a potential of seeing earlier tornado possible. Now we're under severe thunderstorm warning only for North Harris County. That's some good news. Not a tornado possible unless you're going to start seeing this line get closer. That's why it's in there. We're not having a tornado, but it means it's possible because we've been seeing the history of that. So if I was to show you this line as it continues to move through, it's moving out of Chambers. So if you're in Western Chambers, if you're now in Auburn, you're right in the thick of things. So the Auburn is going to be cleared here in just a minute for the threat of any severe weather. But everybody else ahead of this, if you're in Columbus, coming up at 5 o'clock this morning, less than an hour, we're going to end up having some potential damage and wind and possible tornado. Barnesville, you can see from 37 minutes after 5. And taking as far out to Zenith, just to let you know, when this is getting out of the news viewing area, it's already 6 o'clock. So, Brian, we may end up this 6:30, 6:45 and out of here. It's racing so quickly, and that's the way it's going to be. But everybody in every county along this line has been under severe thunderstorm warning, easy more than anything else. The tornado warnings we're talking about are not confirmed now, so the confirmed tornadoes are over, but Doppler indicated because of the history of this, plenty of trees. If you're just joining us, we've been seeing so many trees and power outages in the history of this, even going back to Alex City, trees on top of homes. This is going to be a big mess for Alabama and Tallapoosa Powers. Diverse Powers ready, linesmen in Georgia. Georgia Power is as well. So if any of these folks that are out there, leave the linesmen to do their job. Do not go out there and try to troubleshoot, but be prepared. When you head outside, it's going to get a little bit crazy. So here is a live look now on Skype. Thank you so much to Liz Ortega. She's our director behind the scenes, along with Jacob as well. And you could see the camera shaking. Look at this, Brian.
Oh, yeah.
This is considerable wind. So if you want just an inside picture without having to go out there, we just had a couple students out there moments ago. It is not safe to be outside. Look at the lightning that's out there. In addition to the lightning, in addition to just the strong winds, potential tornado, not to mention the damage that's going to follow. I mean, those trees were completely covered. They're getting blown out now from all the wind. And the wind gusts here in Auburn, now that the strongest part of the storm is moving through, it's only going to be the same everywhere ahead of it. So that's why we have this up through Luthersville, Hogansville, Hillcrest, Greenville, north of LaGrange, the northern parts, I say the northern portion of the city, which includes these roads from Whitfield Road on US 29 all the way around the interchange here where Interstate 85 and 185 connect. This area here, which would include Towns Road, Hines Road, Almond Road, all these areas here could potentially have some damaging wind with a potential tornado. We got severe thunderstorm warnings now for all of Harris County, all of Muskogee County, at least 3/4 of Chattahoochee County now, and northern portions of Stewart County. Omaha's in that. Eventually, this is going to move towards Webster, Marion, and going into areas of Talbot County as well under severe thunderstorm warning. So all of you guys watching, even though it's not happening yet, there's going to be, not maybe, there's going to be considerable wind, and there will be damage along this in many different areas. And we're starting to see around Ellaville, a lot of convected activity around Buena Vista. And just a quick glimpse of this. I'm not seeing anything, Brian. I think the good news is we're not seeing in the discrete cell ahead of that. Yeah. It's really everything on this is going to be physically along the line. And let me tell you, this is a considerable wind event. And when I say considerable, there's going to be many trees down and a lot of power outages with this morning. So please use caution. Do not go outside and try to see something and say, look, I can go troubleshoot this. It's best just to call local authorities. Power companies will know when the power lines are down, trust me. You can always report it through their website. They appreciate that, and that's the easiest way to do it. But do not go out when you see power lines down, because you can be electrocuted. Even though many of them will shut down on the grid, there's times that electrocution could be present. You can't, rings of electricity could go out 50 feet and you wouldn't even know it. So please stay indoors. Is all I'm saying, to stay indoors so you don't need to be out. Many of you want to get up for service, church service, mass, wherever you're going this morning. Call ahead, make sure everything's safe. You're going to be driving around secondary roads in these rural areas. There's going to be limbs and trees down and possibility of power lines. And I can tell you this, last year, I was driving back on Harris Road. I saw a Harris County deputy. Thank goodness he was sitting there with his lights on. I would have never seen the line, Brian. It would have came right in my windshield if he wasn't there. So it's dangerous. This is kind of event. This is widespread wind. So please stay off the roads unless you have to be there. Want you to be safe. That's the key. And Brian, I'm going to give you some times here for you.
All right, so 4:15 right now. You're watching WRBL News 3 First Alert Weather Team in action. Bob Jeswald, myself, Brian Thomas, watching this line of severe storms continuing to march very quickly off to the east. Got one tornado up to the north, just north of downtown LaGrange, and also another tornado warning for parts of Macon County. Get ready to get into, looks like Lee County or southern Lee County, maybe northern Russell County, Crawford area. You want to keep a close eye on this. This is just off to your west. And again, if you live in Columbus, if you live in Phoenix City, this is off to your west, but this is something that we want to continue to watch because it's going to continue to march in this general direction. In fact, if we look at some of the estimated times here, let's see here, Columbus 4:47, Eufaula 4:06 Central Time, closer to the top of the hour. And then you got Forsyth, you got Macon, Warner Robins further off to the east. But Smith Station, you're next in line, 3:31. We're talking just a matter of about 15 minutes from now. We're going to see this line impacting you. And again, this one little tornado warning right here. Again, it's just a radar indicated tornado. It's not observed. But again, you don't want to take these lightly because these are those quick spin up tornadoes. And even though you only have a radar indicated tornado, you can get an observed tornado very, very quickly. And these are, the good news is these are the type of tornadoes that they spin up and they go away pretty quick. But right now we're not seeing anything on the ground with this particular tornado warning or this one. Both of these are radar observed. Again, this one's just north of downtown LaGrange, getting ready to cross over 85 there just north of LaGrange. Got that Love's truck stop up there. So if you're in that general area, you want to make sure that you take cover immediately with this one. Even though it's, again, radar indicated, you don't want to take these lightly. They'll spin up tornadoes. Can cause some pretty good damage. And of course, these straight line winds can cause some pretty good damage as well. We're talking winds upwards of 70 miles per hour. That could move things around pretty quickly. It could bring down some tree limbs, bring down some trees. We've had some rain. I know we were out and about earlier today doing some, or actually yesterday doing some things. And I noticed that some of the ground was very, very saturated from some of the recent rains that we hadn't had a chance to really dry out. And when you get situations like that, saturated grounds, it's easier to bring trees and things like that down. So that's something they got to keep an eye on. Straight line winds, again, could be just as dangerous as a low end tornado. So you got to keep an eye on that. Again, this whole line is producing quite a bit of wind, upwards of 70 miles per hour. And again, that lone tornado warning looks like in northeastern Bullitt County, getting ready to move into southern Lee County, maybe clip northern Russell County, and continue its trajectory really pretty just south of downtown Phoenix City. But again, we'll continue to watch this. Radar indicated, not sure, has Birmingham said that they're going to continue this on into Lee County? Have they said anything yet?
Yeah, they're going to continue it. I think what's going to happen, I think they're going to probably discontinue the tornado warning, no mention of it. But just by us looking at it, it's going to be under a severe thunderstorm warning continuing. And again, if we continue to watch this, this would be around the Beauregard area. It's coming into the Marvin area right now as we speak, Brian, on the latest sweep. And that means that we're not seeing it extend. So I think it's safe to say that the leading edge is already in southwest Lee County and the Panhandle, we refer to it as. And everybody else is under severe thunderstorm warnings, including Columbus, Phoenix City, all of Harris County, all parts of Talbot County. We're talking about north LaGrange, Troup County, Meriwether County under that tornado warning that's Doppler indicated. And but everywhere else along this line, as you can see, coming up at 54 minutes after the hour, it's 18 minutes after the hour. So Phoenix City, Columbus, Smith Station, 39 minutes after the hour. It's 18 after. So in the next 20 minutes, Crawford, Ladonia, 34 minutes after the hour, seeing potential some very strong damaging winds and into areas of Casita and Chattahoochee County. So Casita, Chattahoochee County, not Caseta up in areas of Chambers. Chambers is starting to see this all kind of come out. The confirmed tornado in Northwest Lee County is over. Macon County confirmed was over. We saw 2 debris signatures with that, but they are actually right along the line, very quick, rotating spin-up tornadoes. So they're quick, they're in and out, and that's it. They're very fast moving. So everybody's under a tornado watch. If you're watching us, listening to us on air on Q1073 FM, if you're on WRBL.com, if you're on Facebook with us, if you're on our map, app, you are all under a tornado watch. That means conditions are favorable because this line is producing quick spin-up tornadoes. It's coming in a very unstable environment. Temperatures are up in the 60s, as we were saying, to 70 degrees to the south, and we still haven't even gone into the Georgia side. Northwest Georgia, plenty of trees down right now. Cherokee County, so the northern end of this whole line into Georgia is seeing severe thunderstorm warnings. That includes everybody in the Atlanta metro area. North, go all the way to Ellijay. From Ellijay, Georgia, all the way down, this has been a severe thunderstorm, strong, considerable winds across the whole area. And compared to 2018, when there was a derecho that came through mid-Tennessee, it did tremendous amount of damage, a lot of power outages. There's so much trees down and power lines down across central Alabama now. Alexander City hit hard. Montgomery, Alabama, if you're just waking up with us, Montgomery actually had a 70-mile-an-hour clock wind gust at the airport, confirmed. So, Brian, as you know, that does a lot of damage. And we didn't really see the tornadoes pop up until it came in the news reviewing area. 2 were confirmed. The tornado watches now are what we call Doppler indicated. So Luthersville to Greenville. LaGrange is coming through that area right now. So if you see this, and I even see a little bit of a hail core too. So we do have some hail with this as well, right around Nelson Road. So these areas here. But if you're in Louise Hines Road, coming into areas of West Chambers, Davis Road in Troup County, Mountville, just be in your safe spot for sure. But I do not see a tornado right now with this. This will probably expire out. That's the good news. And all severe thunderstorm warnings all ahead of this line. So everybody watching will be under a severe thunderstorm warning easily, and you're under a tornado watch at the same time, because at any time it could produce a tornado. We've been seeing that historically. Now, all the way down to Barber County, we're under severe thunderstorm warnings, as we said it would be. So the potential of damaging wind, considerable wind damage in some cases. If we get down over here in Columbus, because we have the tornado warnings, Barber, Russell, we have the considerable tag on here for tornado possible for anybody here. It's not happening, guys, but if you're in Barber and Russell counties, for example, the winds are considerable. So let's give you a little wind track here. If I get a little closer in these heavy populated areas, we'll come up through here. So if you're in Waverly Hall coming up at 5 o'clock, exactly what we've been talking about with these times. Brian was talking about this yesterday morning on the Saturday morning show. Meteorologist Kaylee Barbie was talking about this. It's been consistent all week. Even Cody Nickel was talking about it. We were seeing this all week. So it's been rather consistent. Ballville, Columbus, this continues right after 5 o'clock. So we continue to monitor this. Crawford, Smith Station, Phoenix City. It's almost anybody. So I'm giving you guys a shout out for your cities and times. But the bottom line is everybody watching, if you're just tuning in on the news reviewing area, you're going to have a potential of damaging wind in the area, in your county, and the potential of an isolated tornado spin up. I'm more concerned. If you want to know the concern is this widespread real estate that's being covered by this squall line that's been producing a history of damaging wind, trees down, and lots of power outages this morning. So we are going to take it from our northern counties, and we'll consider this all the way through our areas here. And typically you would say, Bob, we have a tornado warning, you're on it. It's because they're spin up. We know they're gone already. They come, but the warning stays on it, even though it expires at 3:30 East Central Time in this particular county here from Macon, Alabama. It's already passed. I just know that. So If it was to reform, we'll get on street level and show you. I just want you to know that, because a lot of folks are like, okay, how come you're not on it? We typically are. It's because this is a fast-moving squall line. It's absorbing it, and you're getting a little bit of spin up along that whole line. The physical front coming in here is still back across central Alabama. It's way back here. It's the squall line that produces all the severe thunderstorm warnings. So if you're watching and you're seeing this line coming through, this is what's bringing in the considerable amount of damage potential, and we've been seeing that. So it could be anywhere along that line. So Warner Robins, I'm taking as far out. So at 6:46, the squall line will be in central Georgia out of the News 3 viewing area. So I'm just adding as perspective, Brian, just to let you know, this is going to be over now with confidence before 7 o'clock Eastern time if you're just waking up with us. But remember, post-storm, there could be a lot of debris and damage. We want you to be safe and not get in any position that can be harmful. Could we go live back outside of Auburn real quick to see how those winds, if they're calming down? And we're going to take you live right now to the City of Auburn camera and see how that's coming along for you. That was, we'll see if that comes up here in a second. But in the meantime, you have the flow code at the bottom of your screen, and you could go ahead and capture that to keep up with the latest weather updates. But it's going to be a power outage event, and everybody is seeing the severe thunderstorms. We still got 2 tornado warnings, but again, like I said, that is past Macon County. So if you're in Macon County, it didn't extend. We're already out of the Beauregard area. So I always like to add some relief here, Brian, for Beauregard. It's now coming through areas of central Alabama. So really, it's all ahead of that. So you're clear. If you're in Beauregard, Auburn, Opelika, you're clear now. Little Texas, you're clear. So that tornado warning should be gone already. It's moving so fast that these computer tags won't expire them out. So I'm just letting you know that. Same thing with our Troup County potential tornado warning. If you're in Greenville, not many people watch us up here, but just to let you know, in Meriwether, we're just our Troup County friends, you're going to be clear now. So if you're in LaGrange, you are clear right now. That's all east of LaGrange right now. That's the good news. So let's just give you an idea where we are. So if you are on this line and anything ahead of it, these are the areas that are going to potentially experience some damaging wind. So Smith Station, still in that threat. Anywhere west of that, you're good. So if you're in Lafayette, if you're in Valley, West Point, LaGrange, Auburn, Opelika, Beauregard, these cities, Macon County, if you're in Tuskegee, you guys can go, Bob, I want to get some Z's. Go ahead, go back to sleep. There'll be some thunder and some heavy rain behind it, but the worst part is over. But if you're in these areas along the track, Smith Station, Columbus, Phoenix City, Manchester, Zebulon, Hannah's Mill, these areas, you're still under the gun, and there's a lot that could be coming through here, so keep that in mind. I'll give it back to you, Brian.
Yeah, going to be impacted shortly. Smith Station in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Columbus next 20 to 30 minutes. So, you know, don't be getting out and trying to observe anything. We got these damaging straight line winds coming in 70 miles per hour. With, of course, you know, you get these straight line winds, and then you can also get these spin up tornadoes. The good news is the only tornado warning is just north of LaGrange area, and that is just a radar indicated tornado warning so far. So nothing observed here as of late, but again, we continue to watch things. Columbus, look at the next 20 minutes. Griffin toward the top of the hour. Eufaula about 15 after the hour. Forsyth, Lizella, Macon, of course, later on this morning around 6:19. So this line is really picking up speed, and it's going to be racing through the Chattahoochee Valley here very, very quickly. Already getting into the Smith Station area as we speak. And in fact, if we could zoom in just a little bit here in the Chattahoochee Valley, we can kind of give you a better idea of exactly where it's at. So you've got, here's 280, here's Smith Station, getting ready to impact Smith Station probably the next 5 minutes or so. Crawford, knocking on your door. Ladonia, you're right after. And of course, you got to watch for, you get any little kinks like this, you got to watch for those spin up tornadoes. Good news is right now there's nothing to report, just some straight line winds, again, upwards of 70 miles per hour. Could see some small hail, but that's not likely with this type of system. We're not expecting a whole lot of hail, especially nothing of any major size. So nothing there. But Smith Station, Crawford, you're next in line. Crawford, it's not, in fact, you probably are already hearing the thunder, seeing the lightning. Smith Station, you're probably getting ready to hear that in the next 5 minutes or so. Columbus, you're next in line. Phoenix City. So again, this is one of those deals where you've got straight line winds. Could see some spin up tornadoes, but again, those straight line winds, when you're getting up to 70 miles per hour, it could cause some damage in itself. So Crawford, Smith Station, Ladonia, Phoenix City, Columbus, Of course, up into Harris County, Hamilton. You want to make sure you keep an eye on things and check out some of these wind speeds. 65 miles per hour, 64 miles per hour, close to 60 south of Crawford. So definitely some very, very high winds. Look at this batch here coming into just north of Smith Station. In fact, probably going to impact Smith Station if you come out of Smith Station up toward like Bleecker Junction, places like that. Seeing some pretty nasty wind right now. But again, eventually getting into Smith Station, we're talking winds 60 to 70 miles per hour moving into the Chattahoochee Valley as we speak.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, when you see this kind of forward momentum, Brian, it's a lot of times you think is this tornadic? This is what we call straight line winds. And it's been consistent with this. This has been a straight line wind event, despite the fact we had 2 confirmed tornadoes in northwest Lee County this morning. If you're just joining us, there was debris on it. I'm sure Birmingham will probably get out there and investigate. It was a quick, fast moving tornado. We had one in Macon County, a quick spin up, and they had a little debris. So I'm pleased with the fact that these aren't real strong, long track tornadoes. They're very quick and spin up. It's the worry part, worrisome is this right here. As you see, it's the amount of energy along the entire line, which affects everybody. Typically, when you watch us, we're just hyper local and in a small area. This is everybody being impacted. Meteorologist Cody Nickel reporting some very strong wind gusts in Meriwether County. He's up there probably anywhere. He said power is going in and out, and he's up in the Meriwether County kind of giving us some feedback. Meteorologist Nicole Phillips is in the Pine Mountain area. She is also keeping you updated online. Meteorologist Kaylee Barbie's been working tirelessly all morning and night. Hopefully she's getting some Z's right now. But again, this has been a long morning, and obviously this is the kind of event that brings in power outages and damage. The latest updates, trees down on Alabama 51 in Beauregard right now, so that's been a big problem as well too. So we're going to, making sure that folks know that Beauregard is certainly seeing some trees down. The good news is it's past you guys in Beauregard, but you could see the wind, as we said. We gave you the heads up that it was going to be a wind event, and there will be some damage. So keep that in mind.
And if you happen to lose power, you can always turn on the radio station. Q1073 is live right now with the feed. So just in case you do lose power, you're still going to get coverage from WRBL, Q1073, and also at Q1073.com. You can stream it there. But Smith Station, look at that. Crawford, you're under the gun right now. Smith Station, it's right here on you. Ladonia, probably in the next 5 minutes or so. Columbus, next 5 to 10 minutes. Phoenix City. So just kind of stay hunkered where you're at. Right now, we're just dealing with some straight line winds. Good news is we don't have any tornado warnings, so that's great news, really, because obviously even if it's a spin up tornado, can cause some pretty good damage. We didn't see the damage, but we definitely picked it up on radar. Northern Lee County up into Tallapoosa. So we've had a few issues this morning, but here locally we did have a radar indicated tornado back in Macon County, but nothing confirmed there. It was making its way up into southern Lee County, but they did not extend that warning, thankfully. But again, straight line winds, because we're talking up to 70 miles per hour, can do just as much damage as a low wind tornado.
Yeah, and we're seeing transformer fires right now being reported Alabama Highway 147 north. So this is going to be the case. A lot of power issues out here. Power lines down. We got trees blocking roads on Lee Road 72. These are the areas we're talking about in Lee County. So Lee County got hit pretty hard with a lot of wind damage, as we just told you. No doubt, look at what was going on along this line. If you're in Smith Station, you got to hunker down now. If you're in Columbus, Georgia, Ladonia, start getting in your safe spot. We're all under some severe thunderstorms right now. We're seeing power flickering. We got many power outages right now, and you can see the flow code at the bottom of the screen. You can check out the latest weather updates there too. Do not go outside if you see trees and power lines down. This is for your own good. Don't worry, the authorities know about it. They will be able to get dispatched and be deployed out in these areas. The linesmen know what they're doing. First responders, police, fire, and EMS remind nobody on the roads. They have to focus in on this post cleanup this morning. So even though it's going to clear out of here, be right around sunrise, and you guys are going to be just determined to get out there, because you know what people do. Please, it's for your own good and your own safety. Let everybody clear everything up first so we know it's safe where you're at. The tornado warning in Macon has expired, as Brian has said. Meriwether and Troop. Now we're going to be looking a little bit farther south here for some more energy coming in here. So we got to look at this area here coming up in Hamilton, Woodland, these areas north of Waverly Hall, Shiloh. There's still a tornado possible with this. The winds are so considerable, and the amount of forcing could still create some weak spin-up tornadoes. We've been seeing that, but it's the wind. It's going to be a certainty. The certainty is wind. So if you're in areas around Pine Mountain, Hamilton, Manchester, Zebulon, that's going way into Pike County out of the news reviewing area, but Hannah's Mill, Thomaston, Georgia, you just get a perspective there of time. It's local time. Right now it's happening in Pine Mountain, starting to move in, and it will continue through outside of Harris County by 5 o'clock. So within the next half hour, this is out of the area, as you can see, and that's where we're going to still have that tornado possible, because anywhere along that line. If you're in Columbus, Georgia, the same thing. Chattahoochee County, northern Stewart County, that seems to be the areas that with more energy that we're looking at. If we're areas of Barber County, Alabama, too, we're under that severe thunderstorm warning with considerable damage threat. So that's for everybody. So anywhere along this line, let's get down to Clayton, Baker Hill. You follow, we'll get into Georgetown, we'll get into Quitman County, we'll get into Randolph County. Now, just to give you guys some times, it's not happening yet. Or in Marion County, Richland, Georgia, Preston, Webster County, Sly County, Ellaville, we're going to put you all in that, but you could see the times in here. So areas around Eufaula would be around 4:11, about 11 minutes after the hour. It's 34 minutes after the hour at Central Time. Buena Vista, Marion County, coming up around 5:30 with the potential considerable wind damage, lots of trees down and power outages. Butler and Taylor County, 44 minutes after the hour. So within the next 10 minutes or so, coming up in that area. Randolph County and Cuthbert, 5:49 this morning. It's 34 minutes after the hour, so 49 minutes. We're going to see potential of that. We got damage now in Hale County. You can see coming in now. So you can see the history of this. A lot of straight line wind damage is what we're seeing. Vehicle hit the downed tree on 2600 block of Highway 169. This is why nobody should be out at all. There's a lot of damage out here, and again, now we got vehicles hitting trees, so people are getting caught in this. So please stay off the roads. There's a lot of damage that you can see in the history of this storm. And what has me concerned, Lee County got hit pretty hard here this morning. And there's going to be a lot of, Lee County, you're clear right now, but there's a lot of damage. So if you're in Lee County, please, Beauregard, any of these areas, there's a lot of debris out there, power outages. Now we're getting people getting in accidents. So with downed trees, that's what I worry about, cars hitting trees. So I would even go this far this morning. You don't hear me say this very often. And I know how important it is, because it is to me too, to get to your service, to your church service. And I know your pastors would be, Bob, I don't want anybody to get injured. I'd be very, very sure, 100%, that you were clear to get to point A to point B. I wouldn't advise it, not telling you what to do, but I know they would rather have their congregation safe rather than sorry. So I'm seeing this right now out there. It's not looking good this morning on a lot of these secondary roads. So please, across East Alabama especially, we have a lot of issues out there right now, Brian, this morning. So we want everybody to stay off the roads as much as you can. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, it looks like some of these higher winds getting into northern Muskogee County here. So definitely take cover up here. Again, we don't have any tornado warnings, but again, the straight line winds upwards of 70 miles per hour. When you see these yellows here, we're talking anywhere from 60 to 70 miles per hour. 50 to 60 down here, so definitely severe thunderstorm characteristics here. So definitely be careful out there. And like Bob said, there's really no reason to be out and about on the roadways, especially in a situation like this. Maybe if you are on the road, pull off, maybe pull into a gas station, something like that. Let this pass through, because it's not going to take very long for it to pass through. But let it pass through. Once it passes through, you can get back on the road. But here's the thing. You want to drive extremely careful, because as somebody has already found out this morning, if you're driving a regular speed, you might come up on a downed tree and hit a downed tree, because you don't have, a lot of times in the back roads, you don't have lights, things like that. And your beams off your vehicle aren't going to go out so far. So if you're doing 50, 60 miles an hour, you'll come up on it pretty quick. And a lot of times you may not have a chance to react. And if the roads are wet, you slam on the brakes, all you're going to do is you're going to skid. So be extremely careful on the roadways. Slow down, especially if the roads are wet. In many cases, they are wet. So careful on the roadways this morning. But again, some of the higher wind values getting into northern Muskogee County. extending down into Russell County, getting ready to impact places like Fort Mitchell, Cottonton as well. And then, of course, as you cross into the river, you've got Chattahoochee County, Fort Moore, going to see some pretty good winds this morning. But again, Columbus, northern Muskogee County up into Harris County, seeing some pretty good wind this morning, getting over toward the Hamilton area here. In fact, probably impacting downtown Hamilton as we speak. But Columbus, it's impacting you now. So stay where you're at for the next 15, 20 minutes. Line gets through, and then you can carry on your business, whatever you're going to work or you're getting ready for church, things like that, going to pick up people to take them to church, whatever the case may be. Once the line passes, then you can continue on. But for now, just pull off your gas station, whatever the case may be, maybe next to a building to kind of shield you from the wind, something like that. But definitely don't want to be driving out and about in this because very dangerous.
Right.
And again, if you lose power, you don't have street lights. And in a lot of cases in the back roads, you don't have street lights anyway. So it can be very, very dangerous.
Metropolitan area is very busy. If you're traveling, if you have flights, maybe you're headed up to Atlanta this morning or Birmingham, you have airports to go to. Fulton County, a lot of reports of trees down right now in Fulton County and more coming in Douglas County. So all the way up in our Georgia side. So that you can see how this line is kind of tilted. So the Atlanta Metro is already seeing it pass through. It's now heading into East Atlanta. The tornado warning up in Coweta County, Meriwether and Spalding. I would say it's safe to say no viewers right now are seeing a tornado warning for us. This is just out of our viewing area. Troup County, you're clear. If you're in Chambers, you're clear of any severe weather. If you're in Lee County, you're clear now. But a lot of damage in Lee County. So just stay off the roads until further notice if you can do that. Emergency Management Lee County would really appreciate that. Just please stay off the roads. And it means everybody this morning. There's going to be a lot of trees. There's going to be a lot of power issues, damage that's coming out there. More coming out right now. Even in Fayette, Alabama, trees on houses. I'm just seeing countless numbers of reports coming in, and that's the history of the system. That's why everybody watching along the line will be under a severe thunderstorm warning. We don't have it down yet in Clay, Quitman, and Randolph, but you're coming up next. You're going to be under severe thunderstorm warnings. All the Metro Columbus is, Chattahoochee County is, Fort Moore is. Now we got a tornado warning for Chattahoochee, Harris, and Muskogee. So I'm going to stick on this here right now, and this one is because it's for a metropolitan area. So this one is where we get more of an alert. It is radar indicated, but right now what we're going to do is we're going to just track this and make sure you're okay. I know there's a lot of viewers going to be wondering what's going on. You're tuning in now at WRBL News 3. We've had confirmed tornadoes this morning. This is a wind event, tremendous amount of wind, and this morning we're looking at the potential of seeing a tornado. This is Doppler indicated, which includes the Columbus, Georgia area and to the Lake Bottom area as well. So again, my friends, this is a little bit, of course, concerning of folks waking up. Don't want you to panic, but what we're seeing right now are winds up in the Columbus metro area into the Midland, Muskogee, 60 to 43 miles an hour. So this morning, tornado warning for, of course, Chattahoochee, Harris, Muskogee, and Talbot counties. This is because of the nature how fast this line is moving. There's at any given time, we're seeing so much rotation on this line. These are weak spin-up tornadoes, so we don't want to split hairs, downplay, or this is what's happening, this is all you need to know. But now we got on 185 southbound, Interstate 185 southbound a county line between the Lee and Macon County roads on I-85, south. Trees are down too along the interstate. No one should be on the roads right now. And you're going to hear me, you've never heard me say it to this degree. Nobody watching should be on the roads until it is fully clear. Emergency management is repeating this over. There's a lot of damage, tremendous amount of damage, and it's a widespread area that's been impacted this morning. If you're just joining us, the tornado warning is for all of the Columbus metro area right now, all the way up to Talbotton and portions of Harris County too, which includes areas of Ellerslie, Waverly Hall, these areas as well. So we're watching these areas this morning, and this is why we have a lot of folks that need to watch out, because at any given time we're seeing rotation and spin with a potential of a tornado. So if you're in areas, just seek shelter immediately. If you're in Allendale, Crystal Valley, coming up at 10 minutes in the next 8 minutes. If you're in Waverly Hall, Georgia, Ellerslie, Ridgeway area, you know where that is, that area as well, coming south of Waverly Hall. Bawville, going all the way into Talbotton. If you're on 208, seek shelter immediately, because despite whether there's a tornado or not, guys, this wind is strong. So if you have trees nearby, this is toppling over trees. There's been power outages. There's been, if you're just joining us, Lee County has had cars slamming into trees this morning. Dangerous, dangerous situation. Do not go out on the roads this morning. Please listen, I can't say it enough. Leave it to the first responders. They do not need to be rescuing somebody. They want to make sure that you're okay. So you're going to be receiving a lot of warnings this morning, adding perspective. It's a long line of damaging wind and severe thunderstorms, not to mention tornado warnings that we've had. We've had 2 confirmed tornadoes. This one in Columbus to Talbot County and Harris County is not confirmed, but there's a lot of rotation with this. So if you're in this area here, there's a potential of seeing some damaging wind for sure. And that's really the big threat on this. So you're under a tornado warning because of the nature of the system. So again, Columbus at 48 minutes. In the next 5 minutes, you should be seeking shelter anywhere in Muskogee County. Okay, all of Muskogee County. Fort Moore, all of Fort Moore, 52 minutes, you should be seeking shelter. Lowest level, if you're on a second story, just drop to the low level. It's a wind event mainly. Hannah's Mill, Thomaston, and you can see by the time it goes all the way into the crossroads of Birdsong, we call it, which gets it right out of the news reviewing area out of Taylor County. But Brian, this is a widespread wind event.
It really is. And if you look up, there's a little bit of a kink right here in this line. If we zoom in here, you could probably see a little bit of rotation right there. So if we, you got Flat Rock over here. Here's J.R. Allen Parkway right here. You got 185, so should be crossing over 185 as we speak. Again, here's J.R. Allen Parkway, north side of Columbus. Here's southern Harris County. You got Fortson Road that comes down here. You got Flat Rock, Chautauqua Road. Anywhere east of this, you need to be in your safe place just in case. Again, this is just radar indicated, but again, these are quick spit up tornadoes and could easily go all the way to the ground pretty quick. And of course, a lot of times these pick right back up. But the bottom line is Allendale, Chautauqua Road, north side, especially J.R. Allen Parkway area, north of there, you want to be in your safe place. Up into southern Harris County, you want to be in your safe place as this whole line of showers and storms continues to move off to the east. Try to see if there's any rotation here.
Yeah, what I'm worried about, Brian, I think the tornado warning's being issued. It's flagged because of this tremendous amount of wind.
Yeah.
This is just as dangerous as a tornado. It's a tornado warning. This is a wind event. We're talking about some indications here, guys. This is out of Peachtree radar. I'm going to flip over to one south, but even if it's a loft, we're seeing 90, 88 mile an hour wind gusts coming into the Dinglewood area right now.
Yeah.
If you're in Lake Bottom, if you're on Macon Road, if you're at Fort Benning Drive, Buena Vista, East Columbus, if you're in southeast Harris County, do not go outside. Get into your safe spot right now. This is going to take trees down. This is going to be a mess in the morning, not to mention the potential of seeing tree damage as well. And so this morning right now, just to give you an idea, we're all the way from Coweta County, Atlanta, all the way north Georgia, on the same line has been seeing multiple trees down. We're not getting reports yet because it's actually occurring right now into the metro Columbus area where it's pretty busy. Phoenix City that was in here. I want to get a little bit, it's hard because I want to get all these neighborhoods in here so you guys can see what's happening. So I'm going to, for a second, just take the warning off so I can just see what, I just wanted to see something here so I can just get an idea. Hang on one second so I can just bring this back over here for one moment. Okay, so right up through, you can see where this polygon is. This is where we're looking at wind. You see considerable amount of circulation on this line, but it's just the wind that's on here. And as you can see right south of Columbus, this area here that's coming out, this is the wind that's excelling ahead of it. I'm using Peachtree City. And I'm going to see if I could get Warner Robins on here, the Air Force Base, as it moves towards. Let me just see something here. Okay, let's see how this is a little bit and see if this gives me a little bit more information. This thing is moving so quick. So if you're in downtown Columbus, it's moving through right now the worst winds. If you're in areas a little bit in the central portions, all the way up to Waverly Hall, this is probably more realistic, 60 to about 40 mile an hour winds.
You can actually hear things banging outside.
Yeah, you can hear it outside. Yeah. This is significant. And it won't be long before our generator here is kicking on, if our generator isn't already on. But here's what we're looking at. And Brian, as you just said, this is a heavy populated area. If you're in Chautauqua Road, Flat Rock, Upatoy, Box Springs, Inglewood, and again, this, even though you're under tornado warning, this is wind, guys. So all the way up to Catala, Waverly Hall, Oak Mountain, Turntime Crossroads, all the way through here. The winds seem to be more around 40 mile an hour, but they still are going to knock trees down. And it's because it's such a widespread area. Mount Airy, Ridgeway, Diamond Road, County Line Road, Layfield Road, Waverly Hall Road that goes into areas of Talbot County, Midland Road, Warm Springs Road, Fort Benning Road. This is all East Columbus. Should be in your safe spot. Get away from anywhere. There could be trees that could come down on top of you. This is a historical event as far as trees down for this time of year. This is a widespread event, and it's been creating a lot of issues. Lee County has had vehicles slamming into trees this morning. They got power outages, transformer fires. This is what happens when wind knocks up and rips power lines out. So first responders, linesmen are all going to be busy this morning. Advised this morning, if you have any plans to go anywhere and you're like, I got to get out, I have to go here, I would not do it until you know it's safe, till you know it's clear. You could check 411, you could check GDOT, LDOT before you have to get out. First responders are the only ones that should be out. Please use caution, first responders, even you guys. The power lines will just come up on you suddenly in these back roads. You'll be like, where did this come from? Dangerous. This is the kind of morning we're looking at. We have just so much going on across Georgia. Haven't had any reports locally yet here, and that's some good news in the Columbus area, but I'm certain with this wind coming in here, this is going to be significant. Lee County in East Alabama was hit hard. We had Northwest Lee County had a confirmed tornado in Macon County, but it was a brief spin up, and we didn't see any major damage, but we saw debris signatures on it earlier this morning if you're just joining us. I'm going to go back over to Birmingham and see what's going on and what's out of here. So tornado watches to the far west are going to start to cancel out. So I want to give the all clear as we're still looking at folks ahead of this line in Columbus this morning. I'm still going to be tracking this for you. If you're in Talbotton, 514, the winds are going to pick up, considerable amount of winds. Box Springs, Elbeck, Bawville, Ridgeway in Harris County, Midland, Harris, and Midland, Muskogee should all be in areas away from trees, get in the center, lower area of your house. It's a tornado warning, but there is no tornado confirmed. It's just a tornado can drop anytime. I can tell you this is a wind event right now. So the warning was issued because of the fast movement of the system. You couldn't quickly enough say there's a tornado, it would be over with before it would come in. So the tornado warning is kind of like Doppler indicated, it's covering you because of the circulation, but it is all wind. So wind is just as bad. I mean, we have confirmed winds that were up to 80 to 90 miles an hour when it first came in here. So that makes it very scary. So this goes all the way down to Randolph County now. So everybody watching the news reviewing area and west central Georgia counties except Troop, except Meriwether, now North Harris County is out of it. If you are in Talbot County, if you are in Southern Harris County, South Central, all of Muskogee County, if you're in Stewart County, Chattahoochee counties, and all the way down into Barber County in Alabama, southeast Russell, and western Barber, I should say, if you're in Clay, Quitman, Randolph, and Georgia, you are all under severe thunderstorm warnings and a threat of damaging wind that will continue through this entire duration until this line is out of here. I'm going to go back to radar, Brian, and I'm going to walk you through. I'll give you some times here, but here we go again. The war and these watches are expiring. I just want to let you know. So if you're in Chambers, Western Lee, Macon County, Alabama, you can say, okay, take a breath, but be careful going out there. You guys were hit hard this morning, and there is a lot of damage reports in those areas. Bullock County, you'll be next, expiring, and so will Pike County. So just stay tuned. So the watches is going to keep expiring as it moves eastward. But west central Georgia, you're under the gun right now. That's what we're looking at. So you could see where the leading edge is. So the folks that are really in a problem area, as we just said, are going to be anybody ahead of this line. So even though the tornado warning is still in place here for Muskogee, Chattahoochee, it's moving out so rapidly. I don't see a tornado, just to let you know. We hear the word tornado, we think that's all that matters, and that's when we should only be safe. This matters because this wind is very, very considerable, and it could be a real problem here. And even south of Atlanta now, you're seeing more tornado warnings on that. But I'm concerned about this wind, Brian.
Yeah, it is. Some of the winds that we just showed on the here on the radar, 80 miles per hour. It's going to be interesting to see what some of the wind gusts are reported at the Columbus airport. I can't wait to see what they have to push out there. But again, we're covering a tornado warning that is for extreme northeastern Chattahoochee County. This does not include the Fort Moore area, even though you probably are seeing some high winds this morning. But it's covering extreme northeastern Chattahoochee County, much of Muskogee County, up into southern Harris County and on into Talbot County as we continue to see this line of showers and storms. These just straight line winds upwards of 70, even upwards of 80 miles per hour, possibly impacting the entire Chattahoochee Valley area. But again, like Bob said, back in Auburn and Opelika, you're in good shape. The line is past you. Things are going to be improving before long, and could see some sunshine later on this afternoon as things improve. We got some cooler air coming in, but this is really what's going on. We get this clash of warm air on this side, cooler air on the back side. You get that clash, and you get classic episodes like this, squall lines of severe thunderstorms, and this is exactly what this is. Got a tornado warning just south of Atlanta, also one probably covering the Peachtree City area, and then of course the one here locally covering northeastern Chattahoochee County into Muskogee County. The line now, the heaviest winds now looks like they're getting into East Columbus, so places like Green Island Hills, you're seeing the rain, but the worst part of the weather is now off to your east. So East Columbus, up into southern Harris County, up into really eastern Harris County, and then once we get into Talbot County, we're starting to see those winds with that straight line, 70 mile per hour wind gust, even upwards of possibly 80 miles per hour. So very strong winds out there. You got to bring down some trees. It's going to cause some power outages. So just be safe out there, especially if you've got to be out and about driving on the roadways, big rigs. Those things can be blown over pretty quick. So if you're a big rig trucker, you might want to be extremely careful, maybe even pull off to the side of the road and take caution, or pull into a gas station, something like that. Just take cover there until this entire line passes. And the good news is, Bob, it's moving really quickly. So we're talking, once it arrives, we're talking 15, 20 minutes tops, and it's gone.
Yeah, you can see right now, if you're in Columbus, downtown Columbus, Phoenix City, it's already past you.
Yep.
So you guys are safe, sure. The tornado warning's still in effect because of the rotation on this line. It could drop a tornado anytime, but I'm just telling you, it's all wind. There's no confirmed tornado in Muskogee County now. This is all wind event. So along this entire track, you should seek shelter just for the fact that there's winds that are pretty considerable here. In fact, I want to point out something here, and you can see right on this map, this whole track here coming off to the east from Barber County all the way through. You follow Buena Vista, Cuthbert, Lozella, Fort Valley, and Warner Robins. These areas here, as it moves rapidly off to the east, are going to continue right through about 6:30. Warner Robins is going to be in, so it's out of the news reviewing area. So this event, we probably got, I would say, at least safely in the news reviewing area, at least another hour plus, and then it's going to be out of southeast of Columbus. But as far as the wind is concerned, right along this line, we're seeing 66, 69 to 70 miles an hour. We've had some reports of 70 that were confirmed, 27 to the north, 18. So it's varying. So as you could see, the winds are really considerable here, especially if you're in Richland, Stewart County, if you're in Lumpkin, Georgia. All these areas along this track, you know where you're at. If you're in this track, you're the ones under the gun. If you're in East Alabama, if you're in Eufaula right now, it's actually coming through Eufaula as we speak. So Eufaula, there's still a lot of wind. In Eufaula, you got a lot of trees here in Barber County, going into Georgetown, going into Quitman County, Clay County South, and Cuthbert, Randolph County, same thing. Webster County, Weston, Plains, Georgia, Sumter, we haven't even gotten there yet. Sly, it hasn't affected you yet. Taylor County, even in Marion County hasn't affected yet. It's moving into Chattahoochee County now. Outside of Muskogee, you can see where we are in Muskogee County. It is pretty much almost out of Muskogee right now. It's in the eastern part of the county. So Metro Columbus, Phoenix City, you are clear, okay? So if you're in the Lake Bottom area, you're clear. So don't, even with this tornado warning, it's till 5:15. This will expire. It should be expired right now, but we're just looking at this wind that's coming out of this. So here's another view of this. Talbotton at 5:04 this morning. Casita in Chattahoochee County till about 9 minutes after, and that's it. Butler, Reynolds, you know where you are right through there. That's when it's just like out of Taylor County. That's Taylor County, Georgia. That's how fast it's moving. And it'll be in the like Butler and Reynolds area coming up right before 6 o'clock Eastern time, local time. So we continue to watch this line, and you can see how far south it is. We have all severe thunderstorms, if you're just joining us, right along this entire line. And as far as that's concerned, people need to know that the safe spots are in the center, lower part of your house. If you have trees that are unstable, this kind of wind event will knock trees down. We've seen so much tree damage right now and numerous reports across central Alabama. The intensity of this line, Brian, and ironically, is still holding up, but it's moving fast, so it still packs a punch, but it's going to continue at least for these counties south and east. So if you are, again, I'm going to just highlight who's really impacted here. So I'm going to take it up through Taylor County, extreme eastern Barber County, and this is it. If you're not in this track, if you're watching now, if you're not in this track, you're good. If you're not in that track. So let me zoom in a little closer and tighter here so I can get everybody in here that needs to see the local areas. So we're looking at, let me take it up for this point. I'm going to take it right outside of Taylor County. If you're in Columbus Metro, you are clear right now. If you're in Chattahoochee County, Casita, it's still got a little bit of an issue here. I'm going to take it right through Fort Gaines, Shellman, and Americus. So these are the areas, and I'll take it right through Macon. Okay, so if you're in Eufaula, it's right over you right now, obviously, because it's already 4 o'clock Central Time. We're just 45 seconds away. So at just right now, Eufaula, it's going to be clearing your area within the next 2 minutes. Pardon me, Shorterville, 25 minutes. You can see it all the way down here south of Barber County, but that's going into Fort Gaines and Bluffton. So I know we have a lot of viewers here at Fort Gaines and Bluffton. You guys are watching us. It's headed towards you guys very shortly here. So that's why I'm putting Shorterville on there, so you know that's just off to the west of you, that county. Cuthbert and Randolph County, 38 minutes after. So it's top of the hour now. We're moving up 5 Eastern, 4 Central now, and it's coming through your area. So once this passes Eufaula, if you're in East Alabama now, you are clear. The tornado watches are going to expire, okay? So right now, if you are in East Alabama, anybody in East Alabama, only except for extreme eastern Barber County, you are clear. And most of Russell County, you're clear right now. It's moving into the Georgia side now or across the Chattahoochee River. So Sumter County, it's going to be about 6:07. So as I said, Brian, it's going to be a little over an hour yet. So we're going to still be tracking all this in the next hour. Cuthbert, Shorterville, these areas here, all under the gun. You can see here as it moves off towards the east, southeast of Columbus. And you could see the track with this. Considerable amount of wind, and we've been seeing considerable amount of damage. So let me give you a quick update here, especially areas that we're in here. So Birmingham reporting a lot of straight line. This has been a straight line event, despite we had 2 confirmed tornadoes in the news reviewing area. We had debris with that, but it's been the wind associated with the line that produced those tornadoes, which caused all this damage. Lee County, from what I can see, Brian, has been the biggest area that was hit hard, and a good chunk of Northwest. If you're going up to Atlanta this morning, we haven't even talked about this, an Interstate 85, 185, trees down right between the areas going into Opelika, back across Auburn. Watch those areas too. Not advised to go out if you're waking up this morning and you go, well, I got this to do and I got to go out there. It isn't worth to put yourself at risk, or the first responders. I would wait till you know that your path is clear. Secondary rural areas, I would be very concerned trying to travel. And I can tell you this from experience. I almost hit a power line last year, and thanks to a Harris County Sheriff deputy, stopped me in time, because that would have went right through the windshield. I would have never seen it. I'm just telling you, this is serious business. Do not get out there unless you really, really have to until we know it's clear. Lee County especially, and once this is all out and the daylight comes in, we're going to see more assessment. There's still power outages. There's still a lot of branches and down trees. We had a car in Lee County hit a tree, Brian.
Hit a tree, yeah.
So that's the danger. That could be deadly, so you got to be careful.
Yeah, the best advice we can give you right now is just wait till the sun comes up. That way you can see a lot better, and once the sun comes up, then you can get out and go to church, whatever the case may be. But there's going to be a lot of power outages, and if that's the case, then church is going to be something that might be secondary, because if you've got some power outages, then you may have some damage and going to have some issues getting to church this morning. And the last thing you want to do is put yourself in jeopardy, put your family in jeopardy. So just be careful out there, especially if you have to be out this time of the morning. If you can wait until the sun comes up, that would be the best case scenario. But again, that line of showers and storms, we still got the tornado warning here for portions of extreme northeastern Chattahoochee County, extending into Muskogee County, southern Harris County. But that line is really pretty much exiting Harris County as we speak, getting into Talbot County here. It's an extreme eastern Muskogee County, so really getting ready to exit Columbus, getting over toward the Fort Valley area later on this morning. But again, southern parts of the line, even around Fort Moore, even though you're not in that tornado warning, you're dealing with some high winds this morning. So be careful if you're driving around Fort Moore, Chattahoochee County, Stewart County, and points further south. If you're headed you got to go to Eufaula for something this morning, wait until this line passes. Once it passes, things should be good. But again, if you live up in Hamilton now, you're good. If you live in Green Island Hills, you're good. If you live Auburn, Opelika, Tuskegee, Tallahassee, LaGrange, things are starting to improve. You're still dealing with some wet conditions, so be careful on the roadways. But again, the severe weather threat for you is pretty much over. The tornado watches will be dropped before long for the National Weather Service. And of course, once they do that, you can officially call the all clear. But for the most part, again, if you are west of this line, things are looking much, much better for you. But if you're east of this line, you want to keep an eye on things, because again, right now we're dealing with just some straight line winds, but we could see some spin up tornadoes at any point along this line. But the good news is it looks very, very linear at this moment. Just a straight line. Yeah, straight line, and it's moving fast, but along that entire line, as Brian said, it's nice. We always like to see straight line stuff. The only thing is this has a lot of wind with this straight line, but there's not a lot of rotation at this point, despite that tornado warning in Chattahoochee, Harris, Muskogee, Talbot. Honestly, friends, this is probably, it's not confirmed, but it's moving already out of the area. It's moving so fast that if there was even a tornado that can drop, that's the problem. It had a lot of rotation. It was moving in a metro area, so the tornado warning Doppler indicated was issued. It's all severe, though, because of the wind that's along this line. And as Brian pointed out, it is linear, which means it's moving forward, and it's not producing any significant tornado threat at this point. But as it continues to move in this direction, we're still looking at areas in Casita. Coming up in the next 2 minutes, it's going to be right here in Chattahoochee County, which is already moving through. And then before you know it, it's already out of these areas. So I'm going to get a little more closer so we can get some times that are a little bit more specific for your neighborhood. So if you're up here in Thomaston, it's just getting out of the news viewing area. So I'm going to take it through areas of Taylor County. So if you're in Talbotton, it's already moved through you right now. It's already out of the area. I'm going to take it down to Chatco right now. I'm going to move right through Buena Vista and Marion County. I'm going to take you to Ellaville and Butler. And it not quite Zenith, so you get in. Let me just get you to Ellaville, Georgia. So 49 minutes after. So it's 5 after in Ellaville. So expect some considerable winds, and there could be some areas of toppled trees. Just because it's a wind event, you should still seek shelter, because any tall objects, trees, power lines near your house will snap and topple over. Lee County was hit hard this morning. There's transformers that have been blowing across there. There have been some fires reported with that, and that happens when you get that stress of a power and it pops. So linesmen are all over the place this morning. And for Tallapoosa Power up in Chambers County, I can tell you Alex City, Montgomery County had 70-mile-an-hour clock winds at the airport, and that moved across East Alabama. We had the confirmed tornadoes in Northwest Lee. We had one in Macon County, not quite in Tuskegee. You guys were clear from that, but you had a lot of wind damage. Lee County, Beauregard, a lot of wind damage, a lot of trees down on all the Lee roads all across there. We had trees down and a car that hit a tree. There was a situation there on top of a house across areas just outside of Montgomery County. And this has been all morning across the entire area. And the history of the system continues along this track. So in the next 49 to 50 minutes, if you're in this track that I'm showing you now, from Casita all the way up to Butler, Mock, Georgia, Skywatcher Buffalo Simon's in here. I know he's watching too. He's keeping us updated. Talbot County, Talbotton, these areas all the way through Sly County,
you guys could actually have some potential damage with this, and there will be somewhere along that line, whether it's at your house or not, but that's why everybody's under the warning. And everybody in the News 3 viewing area this morning was under a warning. That's how significant this line is. And it reminds us of the 2018, there was an event, the derecho that came through mid-Tennessee in the Gulf of Mexico, and it created a lot of damage, very similar to this. And this is a squall line. I'm going to head to our southern counties, still in the same boat. So if you're in Bluffton, if you're in areas of Fort Gaines, if you're in Georgetown, if you're in Stewart County, Lumpkin, if you're in Cuthbert, if you are in Preston, Webster County, which would include Weston, too, in Plains, Georgia, and areas of Americus, I take it all the way out to the top of the hour, 6:03. So this event continues at least for the next hour along this track. So we're with you. We're going to stay with it. If you are in East Alabama watching, good morning. You're clear, but that doesn't mean your neighborhoods are clear. So all of East Alabama watching on News 3 right now, stay indoors unless you really have to be out there, unless you're a first responder. They're the only ones who want to be out there. There's so much damage. There's so much hidden damage that there's been some wrecks with cars into trees. There's been transformers blown. There's power lines down. It's not advised to be out at all. Let Tallapoosa Power, let any of the smaller power companies, let Alabama Power do their job. Georgia Power's already working on these scenes. Georgia Power's next, and it's the same thing. Diverse Power places, and Troup County was hit hard right along Interstate 85, 185 area. So if you're planning on going to Atlanta, I can't begin to tell you, Fulton County, Coweta, all these areas up through there, I'm sure most of the interstate, check your GDOT, check your LDOT apps. If you have to be somewhere, please use caution. Secondary roads, they're going to be, some of them are going to be a pop surprise. You're going to be driving, all of a sudden there's a tree in the road. It could be very dangerous, and with this wind still coming, it will topple over. Said this earlier, and I'm not putting words in anybody's mouths. I know we got to go to church service, we got to do our thing. Please use caution unless you have to be. Find out your local church. Anybody's keeping you updated on messages, I'm sure they are. Know where you're going. Check the route. Be extremely cautious, but not advised until you know it's clear before you can get out there. This is a very dangerous situation because it's covered so much real estate, I would say, in this regard. So anywhere along this track, southeast of Columbus now, in this track is who is at risk of any more damage. Damage has already probably occurred before this. So I'm going to go to our storm reports, see how much are coming in here now. And you could just see some of them. They're going to be coming in here more and more as we get closer. But again, you can just see the history of this.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's going to be coming in our area next. So you're going to be seeing this starting to come across East Alabama. What's in our area across East Alabama, and the reason why, a lot of it hasn't been assessed yet. So until emergency management reports and we get certified sky trackers and watchers, and they'll be able to give you the latest updates on that. But if we look at some of these storm reports here, you can see the wind damage and stuff too. Like Beauregard, like I said, was hit hard right along Highway 51. There was also all the Lee roads all around here, these secondary roads, there's been a lot of reports as well. Going back, if you're just tuning in, you're like, Bob, this tornado warning, it's gone. The line is out of Muskogee County. So there is no tornado warning. It's just a lapse. This is technology, folks. There's no tornado warning at this point. Okay, there's no tornado anywhere despite that showing up in here. And I'm sorry, if I start doing that, I'm going to start messing with my system here. But that's over here. So there's no tornado warning. That's some good news. But there's a lot of wind and there's severe thunderstorm warning. So I'll take you right up to here, down to Plains and these areas, these counties here. So Americus at 7, still holding true at the same time. Lumpkin at 19 minutes after. You should be seeking shelter with strong damaging winds, and if there's any high trees or anything that could easily snap or come on down, that's going to be an issue. So again, everybody was under a severe thunderstorm warning this morning, or confirmed tornadoes or tornado warnings. There's so many of them this morning, but again, this is the end of this batch here. So East Alabama residents now, including East Barber County, the worst is over, but do not try to go out and assess. Try not to go out there if there are any down power lines, please. Power companies know. They have the technology. They can figure it out. If you want to report it, best to go on their website, or if you're socially savvy, you can go ahead and do that. They recommend that. But first responders know, and we want you to be very careful. There's more Storm reports coming in right now, Brian, as we speak. In Chambers County, we're talking about this one. Interstate 85, I was telling you, near mile markers 75 and 73. So folks in East Alabama, if you're coming from Macon County, Tuskegee, if you're coming from Auburn, you're coming from Valley Lynette, and you just be careful. Just call ahead on LDOT or GDOT. You can use those apps. You'll see all the hazards on there. If you don't need to be out, please do not get out on these roads, please.
And look, here's the thing. We're talking about trees down on Interstate 85. So just because you're on a major highway didn't mean you're not susceptible to tree damage being on the roadway. So if you're traveling north of Columbus, headed up maybe to Atlanta, maybe you got a flight or something like that this morning, be extremely careful. That line has already passed through 85, so you might have some trees down along the highway. And if you're doing 60, 70 miles per hour, you got to be extremely careful, because there's not very many sections of 85 until you get up north of LaGrange that have the lights and things like that can help you see. So until the sun comes up, you got to be extremely careful on the roadways. But again, that line now east of Columbus, passing through Chattahoochee County, now east of Eufaula, east of Cottonton, east of Fort Mitchell. So those areas, even though you're dealing with some rain, the severe weather threat for you is primarily over. But for Cuthbert, for Ellaville, for Perry, things still going to be a little hairy for you this morning. We got a tornado warning just northeast of the News 3 viewing area, just north of the Macon area. Again, we got the tornado warning here. This is actually probably, has this expired yet, elapsed yet?
Yeah, I'm surprised it has not. It's good in 2 minutes, Brian. So, but as far as the warnings, severe thunderstorm warnings ahead of the line are all in effect for everybody southeast of Columbus.
Yeah, so again, the main threat is going to be damaging straight line winds upwards of 70 miles per hour. In fact, we saw some totals actually a little higher than that possibly here in Muskogee County earlier as that line made its way through. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what the Columbus Airport is able to report as far as wind gusts there. But definitely, we're talking about some very high winds, damaging wind gusts, bringing down trees, bringing down power lines. And again, if you're without power this morning, a great source, Q1073, Q1073.com. You can also stream them online, whether it's through your app, through an iPad or computer or something like that. So, of course, if you don't have power, you probably don't have your computer. But the bottom line is, you can access many ways to get RBL and all the coverage here with the News 3 First Alert Weather Team. But again, damaging straight line winds, the severe weather threat for Columbus is pretty much over. The severe weather threat for Harris County is pretty much over. Again, we're just dealing with some rain, but because of the straight line winds, you don't want to get out, venture out and see if there's any damage, because again, like we were just talking about earlier, we've had people actually run into trees that were falling on the ground with their vehicle, and that's just bad stuff. But look at these wind gusts, 60, 54, 49, 38, 17, a little further south. So it looks like the northern part of this line, obviously the heavier part, and plus you got some tornado warnings just north of the Macon area. But again, if you're traveling east of town, maybe you're heading to Macon, you want to make sure that you go to your safe spot and just be on the safe side here, because the last thing you want to do is put yourself or your family in danger and get in trouble there. We definitely don't want that to happen. But straight line winds, that's going to be your biggest threat as this line continues to shift off to the east very, very quickly. It actually entered the News 3 viewing area about 3:30 this morning, and look at this, not even 2 hours later, it's already through Columbus. So it gives you an idea how quickly this line is moving off to the east, and it's going to continue moving off to the east, and probably within the next hour going to be exiting the News 3 viewing area off to the east. So within really a 3, maybe even less than 4 hours, we're talking the entire event occurring in the News 3 viewing area, covering all of our county. So very, very quickly, this line is moving off to the east, and that's great news. The quicker we can get it out of here, the sun comes up, we can assess any damage issues, things like that, and of course we can pass that information along to you. And of course you can always post things on our Facebook page, post pictures, post updates. If there's damage in your area, send us a message on our Facebook page, and we'll pass it along to make sure everybody gets that message. And of course, make sure if you do have damage, you got trees down, things like that, you can report that to the National Weather Service. It's very valuable information that we're able to get out to a larger group of people, so people will be aware of places to avoid. If you got trees down on certain roads, obviously you want people to avoid that, especially right now because there's no sun. there's no light. And if you got power outages, then it's pretty dark out there. So you got to drive very, very carefully this morning.
Yes, and that's great advice, Brian. Let's give an update now. Meteorologist Cody Nickel is reporting power outages. Meteorologist Nicole Phillips is completely tapped out. We got meteorologist Kaylee Barbie now serving our social news desk net. So power's been an issue, as we said. Right now, Chambers County has nearly 4,896 people out. 30% of the county in Chambers is out of power. Lee County has more than 10,000 power outages, 10% of the county. Troup County, more than 5,200, 27% of the county. Meriwether County, nearly 5,000, 4,500 without power. Harris County, 5,200 without power, 27%. More than a quarter of the Harris County is without power. That would mean even probably diverse power customers in addition to Georgia Power. Muskogee County, nearly 3,000, 2,800. So we're only talking about 2%, but I don't know how much of this is in the Columbus metro area, which obviously Muskogee County, I think it is, because when that came in, that was quite significant. We also have, I'm seeing if there's any other updates here, but again, these are the latest updates reported by Cody. Let's get back over and give you guys some updates this morning. We're all under a severe thunderstorm warning. If you're in Taylor County, if you're in Marion County, if you're in Sly County, if you're in Sumter, Webster, if you're in Stewart County, southwest Stewart County, if you're in all of Stewart County, eastern Stewart, I should say, if you're in eastern Quitman County, if you were in Clay County, you're all under a severe thunderstorm warning. If you were in Randolph County, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning with the potential, as you could see, tornado possible. We're going to keep flagging this because it pops up so fast that you get this quick spin-up tornado. We had 2 confirmed, but they were in Alabama this morning. They were in northwest Lee County. We had a confirmed tornado with debris. Brian and I saw the debris signature. We also had it in Macon County. But it's the considerable wind factor that has been damaging and this has been a headache for everybody. Again, not advising anyone to go out on the roads this morning. Please allow first responders to do their job. They would tell us this over and over again. If you do this, you're putting yourself at risk and your family. If you have anybody that's got to go, well, I have to go here. No, you don't. If you have a plane to catch, be very careful because your route up to Fulton County, this continues all the way through Metro Atlanta. Anywhere you pass up, this has been that long of a line. And this may go down as a historical kind of wind event, Brian, as we're saying. I could compare this to the 2018 derecho, which is, when they say that, it's a long wind event that could travel hundreds of miles, a squall line, which happened this morning across Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia. And when it comes through, it just brings nothing but widespread damage. And wind report was all straight line winds. Despite the few tornadoes on there, this was a wind event, as tornadoes would be too. If you're in Cuthbert, 32 minutes after the hour, so the next 12 minutes in Cuthbert, get in your lowest level, stay hunkered down. If you're in Americus, Plains, that comes right up at the top of the hour. And then once it's out of Americus and out of Sly County and Ellaville, and when we're out of Cuthbert and out of Bluffton, Fort Gaines, it's moving towards Fort Gaines right now. Let me get Fort Gaines. I don't mean to leave you guys out here because I know it a little bit farther south, but you can see the southern edge of this. This is the areas. I'm going to take you on our southern viewing area. This is all potential wind damage. I'm going to take it all the way to Bluffton and into Fort Gaines. We'll put you guys in here. So Fort Gaines at 25 minutes after the hour. So the next 5 minutes, if you're in Fort Gaines, same thing. If you're in Shellman, same thing, about 50 minutes after the hour. So at this point, Brian, I'd say just after the 6 o'clock hour, I'd say let's be by 10 after 6 Eastern time, it's all out of the viewing area. For East Alabama, there is no severe threat, but there's a lot of hazards out there all over the roads. And we just mentioned all the tremendous amount of power outages that are out there. Don't panic. People are like, I can't get a hold of grandma. I can't get a hold of this one. And you want to get in your car and drive. Why would you put yourself at risk? They're okay. It's just that the power is out. It's going to get restored, and you need to let first responders do their job. Do not inspect a down power line. Rings of electricity can extend up to 35, 40 feet sometimes, and you can't see it, and you can be electrocuted. And Brian, that always makes anybody concerned, despite the fact that the linesmen know a lot of these lines will cut off automatically. with technology, but there's always that risk, and they'll remind everybody of that every time.
It's something people want to keep in mind too. If even though the line is passed, if there's still a little bit of lightning, a lot of times the power companies will wait a little bit to actually get out there, because you don't want to put those guys at risk either, even though they're trying to help everybody. But of course, Georgia Power, Alabama Power, Diverse Power, all the local power companies always do a wonderful job trying to get folks back restored power, especially back into Alabama, where we saw a lot of downed trees, and we could very well see a lot of downed trees on the Georgia side as well. But it's going to be a little bit of time before we start getting those reports in, because you've got folks that maybe not out and about. So if there's nobody there to report it, then obviously you're not going to get those reports until later on this morning. Once the sun comes up, that's going to be really your safest time to get out and about. If you've got to go to church or something like that this morning, I would wait till the sun comes up. And if you got to, because a lot of folks go to early Sunday school, things like that, just be careful out and about this morning. Could have some tree damage, some downed trees, Harris County, especially along 85. There were some trees down along 85 up in Lee County. Got to be careful there. So if there's trees down there, there's a good chance there could be some trees down 185 northward up into Harris County. Once you get into LaGrange, of course, the interchange there into 85 further north. So if you're traveling toward Atlanta, maybe you got a flight or you got something else going on up there, just be careful on 85 this morning. And 185 could be some tree damage. We already have seen that. Again, 85 over in Lee County, saw some tree damage there. A couple of reports along several areas of 85, not just one particular area. There were several areas that reported down trees along 85 over in Lee County. There you start to see some damage reports, some more coming in over toward the Auburn and Opelika area, and then down south. That's way down south into South Alabama. But again, just a good idea that these storms, even though there's not any tornado warnings right now, still posing a severe weather wind threat, upwards of 70 miles per hour, and in some cases could be even a little higher than that. But again, Lee, Beauregard, trees down on Interstate 85 near mile markers 75 and 73. That's actually up in Chambers County around Cassetta. And then you got Lee County around the Beauregard area. Trees down along Highway 51 in Beauregard. That was reported this morning about 3:18 Central Standard Time, so almost a couple of hours ago. But bottom line is, it gives you an idea. With the sun not up yet, not a whole lot of light, especially if there's some power outages. Things are going to be really dark out there. So best thing to do is just stay off the roadways until the sun comes up. Bob?
Yeah, so Brian, just talking to Chuck Williams, he's getting closer view of what's going on to get kind of a sense of what's happening on the ground. Metro area of Columbus, Georgia, doing good. Roads are clear in Columbus. Good. We're hearing in the downtown area. Chance Corbett, our Emergency Management Director in Homeland Security, reporting a lot of lights that are flickering and they're out. So intersections could be dangerous. So if you are traveling in the Columbus area, be mindful of these intersections. If you know how lights, that could cause accidents too. You see that a lot post-storm, and there's still kind of more of this damage reports coming in. There's also, again, Lee County was the one that was hit probably the hardest that we're seeing, that we're getting more confirmed damage. And now Chuck has a little bit more info for us.
Chance,
yes.
Bob. Most of the damage in Muskogee County is in the Green Island to Double Churches area.
Okay.
That's where you'll see lights. The one tree on Loki Drive. The other thing Chance said was that this is the first time the sirens have been on automatic and went off, and he said it went off perfectly.
Great. So the effectiveness, first time. So. Good. Yeah. So alarms went off perfectly. You just probably got your latest update of all clear. The good news is, as Chuck said, but around Loki Drive, the Green Island area certainly was hit a little bit harder. And there's a lot of lights that are out and stuff. So that's what makes it a little problematic. So if you got to get up and you're going to go out, just please use extreme caution. If you're in these rural areas, secondary areas, and you're unsure, that's what I worry about too, because a lot of trees that are down near those roads, that's the ones that hit power lines. But the Metro Columbus area, and as Chuck just said, it fared okay, considering that came in here. But the Green Island areas that came out of Lee County, that line did a lot of damage, not damage, shouldn't say a lot of damage. It was power that was affected mainly for the lights, traffic, and around the Loki Drive area. So, and there's probably going to be future reports coming out as well on that too. So as they officially keep coming in, they're going to keep rolling in. Keep that in mind. So again, great work with emergency management. I'm sure even in Russell County, you know, Dave Martin's out there with his guys, Chance Corbett's out there, Lee County's out there, and now Talbot County and Lee Aaron. I mean, I could go on and on. All you emergency management folks, even in Sumter County, Barber County, doing a fantastic job this morning. And the automatic alerts here in Muskogee, as Chance has said, that went off pretty well. We're already extending severe thunderstorm warnings in Albany, Georgia, so that's way out of our area, already anticipating this historical line of damaging winds along the line. And as it continues to exit out here shortly, like we said, if you're in East Alabama now, you're clear. Let me give you some clearing too. For anybody that's behind this line right here, so let me get more specific. It's anywhere ahead of it. So if you're in Stewart County now, you're clear. If you're in Chattahoochee County, you're clear. If you're in Buena Vista, Northwest and Marion County, you're clear, but Southeast Marion County, we still have the threat of some more damaging wind. If you're in Richland, Georgia, you're clear. But if you're in Webster County, you're not clear. So a good chunk of Preston, Webster, Sumter, you're not. Ellaville, you're not. Excuse me, Central Taylor County and Eastern Taylor County, you're not. If you're in Randolph County, including Cuthbert, you're not clear yet. And so if you're down in Fort Gaines and Bluffton, you're still not clear. So we still got some time to go, and it's almost at the bottom of the hour at 5:30 this morning, Eastern time. And it's going to be a cleanup effort mania here this morning. There's a lot that's going to be going on. If you're traveling north, I just want to show you, look at this. If you have to travel in these areas, even in central Georgia, like Milledgeville could be under a tornado warning here. We have a confirmed tornado outside of McDonough, Georgia, all through the southeast portions of the Atlanta metro, suburbs, if you will. All under the gun here. And everything that affected Georgia, there's been a lot of reports up through the Fulton County area. Pardon me. So if you're traveling up to these areas, please be careful. Right along Interstate 85, if you're coming out of Macon this morning, Lee counties, a lot of damage in central Lee County. Like we said, Beauregard had some damage, a lot of tree damage. And we're looking at Interstate 85 on mile marker. Let's go right back to this here and show you. This would be mile marker. Oh, golly. Trees down Interstate near mile marker 75 and 73, I should say. I think it's 67. So this going past Valley, Lynette, those areas there. Keep in mind there's going to be trees that are down Interstate. And I can tell you right now, AlDOT is probably all over it, and they're getting ready to kind of clean it up. So it's a morning of cleanup. You know, it's kind of a fast-moving system, Brian, great for not having flash flooding. It looks like the Department of Engineers released just a quick update on the flood warning across the 14th Street Bridge area and the Chattahoochee River. Again, the Department, or should I say that you're looking at Georgia Power and, of course, Army Corps of Engineers. There's a release that probably was a little bit more to anticipate a lot of this rain upstream. So that's why a lot of that is high right now, those river levels, and that's why there's flood warnings on the Chattahoochee River. So be careful around there today, too. So there you go, Brian. You got Ellaville, Americus. These are your timestamps going all the way out. Look, if you even look at Albany, way out of the news reviewing area. I know folks in Albany do watch us, so good morning to you. I would give them a little plug here, but they watch CBS down here. But 28 minutes after 6 is when that is going to be in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, here you got your wind damage reports, and then over in the where you got the little curly Q looking things, those are your wind gust reports. But again, we're going to start to see a lot more of these coming in. Chuck mentioned some tree damage around Green Island Hills, the Double Churches area. Of course, Green Island Hills, very densely populated, but a very wooded area. Yeah. So very susceptible to wind damage, trees down, things like that. We all remember, or some of you may remember, Hurricane Opal when it came through. It caused a lot of tree damage in the Green Island Hills area and around Double Churches. So a couple of places in town very susceptible to tree damage. Green Island Hills seeing some of that with this particular system as well. It does look like you're not seeing the kinks in the line. You're not seeing the bowing segments in the line. So becoming a very straight line wind event really from Macon all the way southward. The northern part of this line still seeing a little bit of kinks there just southeast of Atlanta. But it also looks like part of this line is the intensity has come down a little bit. Earlier we were seeing wind gusts upwards of 70. Now they're getting around 60 miles per hour. Still not something you want to take very lightly because straight line winds can cause some low wind tornado type damage. So definitely want to keep that in mind if you are planes over toward the Cordele area, going down toward Albany. You still got this line to come through your neck of the woods. So just be in your safe place and just kind of hunker down once the line passes through, which it will do it pretty quickly. Once it arrives, it's going to take 15 minutes tops and it's gone. But again, on the backside, places like Columbus, down into Fort Moore, Hamilton, up into Talbotton, Manchester, Warm Springs, you're pretty much all clear. Dealing with a little bit of rain this morning on the backside of this, and of course that'll eventually come to an end later on this morning, and then things will turn much nicer later on this afternoon with some sunshine returning, and then things looking pretty good for Monday and Tuesday. We'll see some more rain coming in on Wednesday, but it's also going to be a chillier week too, with temperatures down into the 30s and maybe even the 20s by Friday, so we'll have to wait and see. But bottom line is severe weather this morning well east of town. Now we're talking the easternmost portions of the News 3 viewing area. It's making its way over toward the Macon, Warner Robins area, over toward I-75. So here locally, things looking good. Columbus, Phoenix City, again, we're just dealing with some moderate to heavy rain right now. But for the most part, severe weather threat is pretty much over, and they'll be dropping the tornado watch for the counties that haven't seen those dropped yet. Pretty much all of east central Alabama looking much better. Severe weather threat for you is over. Good portion of west central Georgia seeing that severe weather threat now over, with that line now east of much of the area. But still, you got counties south of us, of course, east of Eufaula, east of Fort Gaines. You still got that line of showers and storms that's going to be moving through. Of course, the Plains area, Americus, seeing some rough weather this morning. So continue to be a little vigilant this morning. Keep an eye to the sky and keep it tuned to News 3, and we'll continue to keep you updated. And of course, again, if you lose power, we're live on Q1073, and you can also stream them at Q1073.com as well. And again, we've got Chuck Williams kind of keeping an eye on things here locally, and of course, Bob Jeswald, Chief Meteorologist Bob Jeswald, here with me this morning, and we're continuing to cover this severe weather event, which is almost over.
Yeah, so we have a tree down. Of course, Chuck doing a good job here, working with Chance Corbett, emergency management. Loki Drive area, there's a tree on a house. We do have some power outages, and we have lights that are out, and that's a problem. And it's north of like Tombuctoo Lane, right in that area around Green Island, and really right along Loki Drive, Mobley Road, and these areas come around Helen Drive and coming up Buckhorn Drive, these areas off to the east too. We still have the power outages are an issue. So let me talk about a couple things, road issues. Harris County, we have some roadways temporarily closed, Chuck, due to large trees down. So Interstate 185 southbound at mile marker 35, we got trees down there, so there's some closures of roads. 1085 Highway 315, 27 near mile marker 6 in Landris area and Palmer Pine, so that's going farther north. So this is very sporadic. I mean, Chuck's been out there and he's like, Bob, it looks good here. You'll see good areas, but then all of a sudden you may come up on this. So again, be very cautious with this, these areas here. Power outages, again, just under 5,000 in Chambers County. Chambers was hit pretty hard this morning with the wind when it came in. Lee County has more than 10,000 power outages. Troop has 5,200 and growing a little bit, 27% of the county. Meriwether, just under 5,000 without power. Harris County, 5,200 without power. Muskogee, we have 2,800 without power, just what Chuck was showing us on the Tombuctoo area as well. So those areas, too, were impacted. So if it doesn't look it gets bad in your area, there's still sporadic areas that are hit really hard, and they may be isolated, but this covers a large area. You'll see trees down over here, and you'll have nothing over here, and then all of a sudden there's power lines down over here. So if it looks good, great, but it's so widespread until they can really get and analyze what's happening here. That's really the key here this morning. It's 35 minutes after the hour Eastern time, and what we're seeing right now across these areas around Sly County, Sumter counties, these are the areas that we want to watch out for, and you could see this coming all the way down through this area here, and I'm going to stop it right through here, and that's probably the best way of seeing it. You can see Center Point, Archery, Shellman area, Americus, these areas till about 53 minutes. So it's 36 minutes after the hour. So you're talking about within the next 20 minutes or so, you guys just be on a lookout for very strong and potential damaging winds with this. And yeah, that's the way we're going to see. And I can even check here. Let me check real quick, Brian, on the latest update. So Hogansville area, which is not an area. So again, if you're traveling northward, many trees down. We have a patrol car. There's actually a patrol car hit a tree, fell down on a patrol car.
Oh, wow.
No injuries, though, thank goodness. And they have main roads shut down and trying to access at this time in the Hogansville area. So if you're watching, you want to go up to Meriwether County this morning to areas you want to get over to Starrs Mill, or if you want to get up north to go into Peachtree City and you go this way, keep in mind there's these secondary back roads is where we could see a lot of issues. And where you think there's no issue and you just get out and you feel comfortable, you may encounter an issue. So it's, you could see definitely the reports that are coming in here. Talbot County, Lee Ehrenheim now. Box Springs area, seeing the west side of Talbot, seeing some areas there too, looking at high winds she was reporting. So, and they're going to be assessing it too, all the local sheriffs. So, okay, so let's take a look at some of this weather video that we have here. Phil Scoggins captured this when it came down this morning. This is areas around North Columbus, and you could see the rain was quite heavy, and it didn't look too bad here when Phil captured it, but you can hear the wind gusts. In fact, right along the sign, it looks like this could have been 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts earlier. But again, that's the heavy rain that came through in North Columbus, which most of us probably experienced. If you're just joining us and waking up, I bet you a lot of folks, if they slept through it, good for you. Yeah, but it was pretty rough go. But again, reports coming in. We have a lot of power outages this morning. It may be sporadic. It looks like Columbus, Georgia fared quite well, thank goodness. We didn't see as much wind that came in there, but we do have Green Island here areas around Loki Drive. There's a tree on a house, so that affected some power and affected some of the street lights too. So keep that in mind around just south of Loki, Mobley, these areas up to Green Island. There could be some disruption this morning, so just be careful you're heading out. Again, not advised to go out on these secondary roads. There's sporadic, numerous damage. Beauregard had a little bit more damage, a lot of trees down. We had a car hit a tree in Lee County. So, and we have all those reports. We have reporters and that looking at it and assessing it. Hopefully a lot of that's clear. Had a patrol car up in Hogansville hit. So this is just a widespread event and wind event this morning. And despite the 2 confirmed tornadoes we didn't have much come out of those. They spun up quickly. It was a straight line wind event, and we're still tracking it now. So if you were in Stewart County, you're pretty much see the worst is out, except southeast Stewart. Randolph County, Cuthbert, it's right over you right now. So whatever you're experiencing, that would be the worst of it. If you're in Randolph County, just want to let you know. If you're in Bluffton, it's headed your way. But Fort Gaines, you're experiencing the worst of it right now. And it doesn't look, at this time, it looks like it's weakening a little bit. And that's some good news. But we're going to stay with this until the top of the hour, until I know it's all clear. If you're in Americus, though, and Plains, it still isn't in your area just yet. But let's just track it slowly like this. And we'll take it to Leslie and see what's going on. So around 6:18, we expect it to be through Leslie in Sumter County. But you can see Shellman, Americus at 5:55. And that would include Plains in that as well. So within the next few minutes here, guys, just be ready. It'll be the strongest wind. Just kind of hunker down, get in your safe spot. Just stay away from any areas that you know that it can be affected by any trees. But the good news is we're seeing this starting to exit out. Bad news is there's still a lot of areas that have been impacted, and we want you guys to be safe. So you can see storm reports are coming in, and it will continue. So again, no tornado warnings in our area. Looks like Macon County, Georgia, and Macon County, but Macon, Alabama, or Macon, Georgia, geez, Macon, city of Macon, I'll get that right. Certainly seen that outside of Lizella. So that's where those little tornadoes are popping up on there. I know I was talking, Chuck's back in here now. There's just worth checking a lot of, we have so many different little reports of these areas coming in right now. So far, we're good. Typical trees at various locations. Yeah, Lee County EMA, power outages, no injuries. That's some good news, and probably even with that one car, or major damages reported right now. So just your trees in various locations, but keep in mind, thanks for that. And yeah, if you look at these reports on here, it'd have your head spin across the state of Georgia. So a lot of these are very isolated, but Lee County is mainly trees down, we're hearing. I'd even see in Talbot County as well, too. So I'm happy to get that. That's some good news. We're getting some good sources here. And again, just sporadic. Just be careful this morning when you're heading out. Take your time. Call ahead. Check those apps. I think it's always a good thing. But Stewart and Webster County right now, seeing it kind of exit right out of here now as well. So if you're in Sumter County, that's who we're looking at as we speak. So these areas here are still seeing a little bit of that energy coming through here, Brian. So this is probably the end of it right here. So if you're in this track, these are the areas that are going to be impacted mainly. So coming up at right before 6 o'clock, if you're in Americus, Georgia, that'll be the end of that coming through that line. So still a lot of strong winds associated with it.
Yeah, I got a couple of friends that live up in southern Harris County, just north of County Line Road. Said their power is out. In fact, one of them said that they're almost certain that it's because of downed trees. So be extremely careful this morning. And something that we've been stressing is if you do have to be out and about early this morning, whether it's going to church or going anywhere really, the best thing to do is wait until the sun comes up so you can actually see well ahead of you, because even if you've got street lights where you're at, if you have no power, those street lights are going to help you. So just be extremely careful out there driving out and about. We've seen cars hit trees. We've seen trees actually land on cars, the police car up in Hogansville. So extremely careful out there this morning driving out and about. If you don't have to be out and about, just stay home. Just period. Just stay home. And then once the sun comes up, then people can start assessing any downed trees or any damage or anything like that. But just wait till the sun comes up this morning. That should be coming up in about an hour or so. And of course, we'll have more coming up later on this morning on News 3 Sunday morning, coming up at 8 o'clock. But bottom line is the severe weather threat for the Columbus, Phoenix City area, Harris County, Chattahoochee County, Fort Moore area, pretty much over. In fact, they just dropped the tornado watch for East Central Alabama and West Central Georgia, not too far behind.
Yeah, perfect. And that's the good news. As this keeps going, the watches are going to expire. Okay, so power outages as of 5:30 this morning. That was 13 minutes ago. Meteorologist Cody Nickel updating us. And as Brian just told us too, around the county line area in Harris County, Chambers County, 5,349 is 32% of the county was without power in Chambers County. So that was hit a little bit harder, especially southern Chambers too, when that tornado warning came through. Lee County, we have over 10,000 right now without power. So 10,274 without power. Although Lee County Emergency Management are saying they're just mainly seeing trees down right now, and that's some good news. I'd rather see that. And no major injuries we're getting in Lee County, according to Lee County Emergency Management. And Chuck Williams giving us that latest update. Troup County, we have 5,618 without power this morning. Meriwether County, over 5,000, 5,289 without power. Harris County, over 7,000. It's up now. It's still growing. So we're seeing over 7,251 without power. That's a combination of Georgia Power and Diverse Power, which would include that Troup County as well, I'm sure. Muskogee County is now up to 5,991 without power, so almost 6,000. We talked about the Green Island area around Loki Drive. We had a tree go down on a house up in the Green Island area and Mobley Drive. So a lot of this sometimes could do this. Now, even though, and I'm talking to Chuck about it, even though we're getting reports that, Bob, it's not that bad yet here, we're not seeing this yet. The daylight's coming up, and we're going to start seeing trees down, and you're going to start seeing a little bit more. But there's a lot of power outages. So this is a real big tree event as this came down. Covered a lot of real estate in Talbot County, seeing 1,600, a little over 1,600 without power. Lee, Aaron Hyman, Emergency Management up there updating as well. So Cody doing a good job keeping us up there. Kaylee Barbie still talking about the Hogansville area. Again, if you're traveling in the Meriwether County and you're taking 27 or all 85 and heading up in those areas, if you like to go that way, keep in mind there's a lot of downed trees, and it's very rural in there, and you get these areas, there's so many trees tight to the road. There's a patrol car that went hit, but there's no injuries. So I'm happy to report we have not had anything in our local area with no injuries. Thank goodness at this time, thank God. So this is good news this morning without seeing any injuries. So I'm real happy to report that. So if you guys are wondering, again, mainly a power outage issue. Seems to be more trees down more than anything else. And so that's what we're looking at. If you're on secondary, less traveled roads, areas that are very populated with trees, and the more rural it is, it's longer to go out and assess. And you have no power, there's a reason for no power, because I can guarantee you there's probably a situation where the trees are down right now. So, and those areas and branches. So this has been a disruptive Sunday morning. But if this is on a Monday, I know kids are, some kids are off because of President's Day, but I'm just thankful it's not during a school morning because it would have been more of a headache, obviously. But this morning, if you are in Americus to Leslie, I'm going to use that as a point of reference. When it's in Leslie, this event is over for everybody by the time it comes for the news reviewing area, and that would be about 12 minutes after the hour. So it's 46 minutes after the hour. We're staying on live with coverage. We still have people just tuning in on Facebook, WRBL.com. We're on Q107.3 FM. Our PMB broadcast partners streaming. when the tornadoes were confirmed over in parts of northwest Lee County. There'll be an assessment on that too, I'm sure, in Macon County. That was southwest of Tuskegee this morning. That's all out along this line, and this line is nothing but just a wind event at this point. And the good news is that we have no injuries reported at this time. We don't want injuries post-storm, so if there's any downed trees or power lines, let's not add to an injury, because if you get out there and there's a down power line, you could be electrocuted. Still can happen, so we want you to steer clear of any down power lines for your own safety, and we want to make sure that that's something we could talk about and be sure that we don't have to get first responders to worry about. Bibb County, Georgia, Jones, Twiggs, and Wilkinson, that's where the tornado warning is. You could see that lightning out there. There's still a tremendous amount of lightning at this time. If we were to kind of take that lightning down, you're going to hear that lightning, but you could see it's still a lot of lightning, even in areas around Russell County this morning and Muskogee County. There's still lightning behind it, a lot of energy. The front, the physical cold front, has not even come through yet. This is a squall line, so we're still looking at the cold front and still taking a little more time to come through here. So the cold front is now back across areas of central Alabama, so it's right about here, and you could see the amount of damage across central Alabama and now coming into our East Alabama area. And it seems like Chambers and Lee appear to get hit the hardest in this event. But according to Lee County Emergency Manager, this is mainly multiple trees down in certain areas. So want you to be safe. Don't want you to be traveling and hitting a tree. There was no injuries as far as anything serious, but there was a car that hit a tree. There's a patrol car in Hogansville. So these are the kind of hazards that makes you want to make sure you're safe. So just to assure minds, there's no tornado watch in East Alabama. That is expired. It's expired across Harris County's not in it anymore. Chambers, Troup, Meriwether, Talbot County, Chattahoochee County. Nobody's under any threat. The only areas that are under the gun now is southeast of Ellaville and Sly County. Sly County, it's a very heavy rain event. If you're in Sumter County, you're starting to see those strong winds coming in here. If you're in Randolph County, it's expired. It's all the way through areas of coming into Bluffton, Georgia now for our areas down in Clay County, Georgia, and Randolph County, it's exiting. So as I speak right now, it's really a Sumter County event, and that's who we're watching for. So if you're in Sumter County, this is the end of it here. So the Croxton Crossroads area, it's right over you right now. Eagle Pond, Leslie, it's going to be through around 6:09. So at the top of the hour, we'll continue to leave this radar going. We're going to be live on News 3. Meteorologist Brian Thomas is starting to get his show together. He's going to be live on News 3 this morning. Please stay with us. We'll have updates on there too. That's going to be coming up at 8 o'clock Eastern and 7 Central. We got more power outages updated right now. So meteorologist Cody Nickel giving us the latest on these. So as of 5:45 Eastern time, 4:45 Central, Chambers County, 5,349 without power. Lee is over 10,000, still 10,274. Now Russell County popping in here was 742 out without power. Barber County, now that line came through, we're starting to see trees going down, 605 without power. Troup County from trees toppled over, 5,600. Meriwether has over 5,300 without power. Harris County over 7,700 without power. Muskogee 6,200 plus without power. Talbot County now moving towards 1,700 without power. Taylor just under 500 without power. Sly County now, as I just said, it's right over you guys in Ellaville. If you're streaming with us, 400 in Sly County, Georgia. So Sumter, you're next. So Sumter, I'd be surprised you don't have anything. We haven't had any reports of Randolph County or Clay or Quitman County, and that's it. But Barber County, you had 600, and I'm sure that's around the, I'm thinking it's around the Eufaula area, because we had those winds that were pretty strong through there as well. And certainly a lot of wind gusts that we reported. Even though they're not all coming in yet, the reports, there's just a tremendous amount of trees that were down. Tree event, no injuries that we know of that were serious injuries. That's some good news this morning. I'm very thankful for that. And just real thankful that people are being, just a little bit more careful. Do not head out on the roads if you don't have to be, okay? This morning, I'm going to get a little closer and show us where Americus is. And we're going to be real close to this. We'll take it to the top of the hour, and the threat in the news reviewing area You could see who's under the gun right now. So you could see who's coming in here. So Richland, you're clear. Cuthbert, you're clear from the worst of it. Fort Gaines, you're clear. Bluffton, you're starting to feel it. Ellaville, it just passed you the strongest winds, but there's still a lot of heavy rain. And because it's moving fast, that's keeping the flood threat down. So that's some good news. If you're in Americus, Georgia this morning, it looks like at 51 minutes, which is over you right now. So it should be right over you right now in Americus, and then it'll be right out of here. So once it comes through here, we got 8 minutes left, and it's going to be out of the news. The threat will be diminished enough that we will discontinue coverage. But I'm going to stay here if you're just waking up with us to just give you morning updates. We're going to be live on News 3 this morning, and it'll be at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. First Alert Weather Team has been covering this extensively, and have been. And again, you could see this was certainly a big wind event. If you're waking up, there's been a lot of power outages this morning from Chambers, Lee, Russell, Barber, Troop, Meriwether, Harris, Muskogee, Talbot, Taylor, Sly County, with numerous reports of power outages and trees that have toppled over. Around Lockheed Drive and the Green Island Hills area, we have some traffic lights that have been interrupted because of the amount of wind that came up there. We had a tree topple on a house in this area, which is the Mobley area road, Tombuctoo Road, all the way up north on in the Green Island Hills. So this is the area here we want folks to just be safe, be mindful of that. Anywhere you travel, there could be traffic lights not working. Be patient. Stop at an intersection. Look both ways. You get the picture. But if you are driving on secondary roads, be extreme caution. Use extreme caution in these areas, please, because there's just more and more reports that are coming in now. Just to give you a quick roundup, that we know there's some of the folks that were hit this morning, and you won't be having any assessments in northwest Lee County from that confirmed tornado this morning, but it was brief. It was a quick spin up, and it did do some damage because we had a debris signature. Whether it was trees that were uprooted, I don't know, and we won't know until National Weather Service gets out there and does a full inspection of that. Pardon me. So this morning, again, if you're just joining us, a lot of us, we fared quite well. It was a lot of trees down, and it's the good news we're seeing. But local storm reports that have come in here around Valley and areas around West Point, Interstate 85 had some issues up through there. We also had around Alabama 51. These are areas that were impacted on March 3rd of 2019. It always has a lot of folks on edge. It's all clear in your area right now, but just numerous trees down, and that's what's reported by emergency management. But emergency management, this is what they're hearing now. I really believe there's going to be, just looking at this, there will be, and I was talking to Chuck about it, but I still believe there's going to be more reports coming in after the fact. Because right now you just get preliminary, it's just trees down, this and that, but this thing came through, and they're just, the reports on the other end that we're getting from folks that are eyewitnesses and that have come in with a lot more. Up through Peachtree City, a lot of trees down too. So I'm just talking about if you're traveling secondary roads and 85, these are areas as well. I'm checking other reports here if there's anything like Roswell, Georgia. All these areas through here could be a big issue. And this is going to continue in southeast Georgia and East Georgia this morning. So if you're traveling in that direction, the squall line continues. You know, the daylight's going to come up here, and that line may increase in intensity as well. So if you're in Americus, it's over you right now. In central this morning, Sumter County, and it's already exiting Randolph County. We are still going to stream live. We're going to keep the radar up. We'll try to crawl here at the bottom of your screen, and we want everybody to be safe this morning and stay with us here for the next 5 minutes. Everybody that is seeing this line southeast of it, your tornado threat is expired. We still have that front that's coming through the area, and that cold front will be coming through here shortly. So you can see where these trees come back in here. So there's the cold front, and we still got to get the change of weather coming in here. And this afternoon, and when you see the temperatures drop, you're going to know this is why this is a powerful system, especially tomorrow morning on President's Day. You're going to wake up with sub-freezing temperatures and frost in many areas. And meteorologist Brian Thomas will be up this morning on News 3 this morning with Crystal Whitman, and they're going to be giving you the latest weather updates, and we'll see some of that damage in that. But Brian, this morning, you're going to get in that 7-day forecast. You know there's a lot of energy behind this thing with cold weather.
Yeah, we got some cooler temperatures coming in. In fact, when you wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to be down into the 30s, low 30s, down around freezing. So definitely going to see probably some areas of frost. Could very well see that. But we got some chances for seeing some frost. So hopefully you didn't plant anything that's susceptible to cold weather, because we're going to have some cooler temperatures coming in. In fact, Friday, I think we're printing out mid-20s for a low. So that's not only a free, that's a hard freeze. So yeah, be careful when it comes to planting. In fact, when it comes to things that are susceptible to colder weather, the best thing to do is wait till about April 15th. That's when you can normally get your latest freeze for this particular part of the world. So just keep that in mind. If you got flowers or vegetables or anything like that, anything that's susceptible to cold weather, I know there's certain times of the year that you have to plant. Just be wary that things that are susceptible to cold weather could cause issues if there's any late season freezes, which we're going to get. Friday could be cold, and then it looks like that cold weather, or the cooler weather, is actually going to extend not only for this week but into next week as well. So definitely some cooler weather back in the forecast. We were enjoying this spring-like weather, but it's just about over, and so is the severe weather for our News 3 viewing area. Just about over right now. Or if you're in Columbus, you're hearing thunder. I just walked out, and yep, lightning still going on, so still some heavy rain out there. So be extremely careful on the roadways, especially because we've already had this line of severe weather move through. So we've got a lot of trees down. We got a lot of power outages, things like that. So things are quite dark out there, and the last thing you want to do is come up on a tree. We've already seen cars that have hit down trees. We've seen police officers that have been impacted by down trees as well. Thankfully, there haven't been any reports of injuries this morning. Even though we've even had a couple of confirmed tornadoes back into Lee County. The good news is we haven't had any injury reports or anything like that. So the good news is most everybody is safe that we know of.
And we don't want anyone to be on that injury report list, even post-storm. When you start to analyze and start to get out there and say, hey, I want to try to fix this, I want to do that, leave it to the first responders. Emergency management, Montgomery County is seeing a lot of uprooted trees on cars. It's been a mess. But now I'm going to get to Barber County for a second. David Logan sending this in emergency management. Tree on power line down on Highway 82 near 431 North. In Barber County, line across one lane of Barber Creek Bridge. These are the kind of hazards we're talking about. You may step out and say, there is nothing over here. But if you head on some of these secondary roads, there's just a lot of chances that you can encounter this. Spring Hill Road, trees down. Dale Road, blocked with debris. Willow Oaks Drive in Barber County. 5 Mile Road near Highway 30. Cotton Hill Road near Highway 30. Kendall Drive. Tree down at Cypress Cove in Barber County. So this is what we're going to be seeing a lot of this morning in these areas. So before we leave you here this morning, we are clear of any big threat of any more severe weather, Brian. And again, just for the entire News 3 staff and the WRBL First Alert Weather Team, we were first to alert you. We've been on hours ahead. And just to give you what you need to know, we're glad you're safe. Information is important. Please be safe this morning. Stay with News 3 this morning. We're going to still stream at WRBL.com the latest radar images as we can. And meteorologist Brian Thomas will be up with that forecast coming up. And have a good morning. Be safe.